Forget about it. Start.
Yeah.
You give me the comments. Very good points. Our Commissioner Secretary Finance, Dr. Vijay Kumar, and officials who are here, colleagues from the Finance Department, and all invitees who have spared the valuable time to be here, to be present in this pre-budget consultation 25-26. I welcome all of you individually and also those representing the different organizations and the society from across the various districts who are here today. Without much further ado, we will go ahead with the
And all the members from various walks of life, invitees who have come to participate in the pre-budget exercise. So I'd like to take this opportunity to once again welcome everyone, to welcome our Honorable Chief Minister. This is indeed, I think, an exercise which we are doing after a very, very long time, calling everyone here. So this presentation that I'd like to share is a very short presentation which gives a sense of what the budget is and what the state government is trying to do. After that, we have the opening remarks and by the Honorable Chief Minister, where Sir will further expand on the various issues. So it's a short presentation to give a sense. And the purpose of the pre-budget consultations, as we all know, is to get inputs from everybody on how the budgeting exercise can become more efficient so that we can use it as a tool to achieve the objectives of making Meghalaya a developed state, the mission 10 that we have set out. So can we go to the first slide, please? So, in the very first slide, which we wanted to show, is on the GSDP trajectory. If we look at the gross state domestic product, so Meghalaya's growth trend, which I think we have been harping in every meeting, this is the slide which we have shown in the previous presentation. Also, this is the slide which we have shown to the Finance Commission also, and the chairperson of the Finance Commission also appreciated the growth rate of Meghalaya. If we look at the growth trajectory over the last from the during the period 2015 to about 20, so our growth overall, the CAGR, was only about 8.4 percentage. But I think post COVID, so thanks to the growth of the Indian economy is also growing well, and also more importantly, I think the specific steps that are taken by the state government under the leadership of our honorable chief minister. So the growth rate numbers are very clear. The growth is about 16% if you take the CAGR. So as we move along, based on this very strong growth numbers, that is the reason why we have set out on this ambitious goal that Meghalaya will become a $10 billion economy by 2028, because the growth numbers are good, and these numbers are all MOFSP numbers, which is the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation of the Government of India. So, and if we look at the table below, we can also see overall, as I said, the country's growth rate is also good post-COVID, but Meghalaya is one of the few states in the country where the growth rate is even higher than the national numbers. So this is the first slide which I want to draw everybody's attention, which is, I think, the entire budgeting exercise, our entire aspirations for the future, everything relies on the growth of the state, and those numbers look very good. Next. So the growth, Meghalaya's growth, as we all know, because growth is the function of public investment, of private investments, private capital, savings. So one of the most important thing that is fueling Meghalaya's growth is the government expenditure. So if we just look at the government's, the size of the government's budget and the expenditure numbers over the last, again, we took a longish trend over a 10-year period. So if we look from 2000, 14, 15, so the size of the expenditure is typically what the size of the budget is. So the expenditure 10 years ago was government expenditure was only 7,600 crores. Last year, which is year 23-24, our expenditure was 21,800, which was close to 22,000 crores. So which means it increased three times. So in a 10-year period, the government's expenditure increased three times. So that is the kind of growth we have seen, and it is this growth So obviously, when government expenditure increases, what happens? Basically, better roads, more water supply, more schools, more programs that benefit the citizens. So that is what happens. So therefore, if you look at our the table next to it, there is the expenditure is categorized into revenue and capital. Revenue means revenue expenditure is the expenditure that is made to run the administration of salaries, various kind of ongoing schemes. All that fall under revenue. Capital expenditure is the expenditure we make on new schemes. So if you look at our capital expenditure number, which we have highlighted, the growth rate of capital expenditure in the last 4 years has been 34%. So which means the state is spending more. In the last 10 years, we had a three-time increase in the expenditure. In that, our focus in the last 5 years has been on capital expenditure, which means newer projects are being taken up. So all these are the ones that are leading to growth. So this is the expenditure scenario. Next, if we look at the expenditure breakup by state and central, again, so on both on the state front and the central front, we are doing. But one thing in the state front, if we see, our growth rate has been 15%, which means this whole expenditure, while central has been growing, it is state expenditure which is driving this, which means that it is not just the centrally sponsored schemes, but it is the state schemes. State government now has more money to take up various programs. And as you can see, there's a 15% growth in the period 2021 to 24 in the state expenditure. Next, please. Then, as I said, we break the expenditure into revenue and capital. So, revenue is, as it is listed there, the normal things that we do to run the state, which is salaries, pensions. These are compulsory expenditures that are unavoidable, that are necessary to run the state. So, let's say if we build a new building, a new stadium, the operation and maintenance of the stadium is revenue expenditure, but the investment we make to construct is capital expenditure. So, this revenue expenditure, again, if we see, it is going up. But if you see, for example, things like salaries and pensions, so they are not going up so much. So the growth rate of salaries in the period 21 to 24 was only 6%, pensions 14% compared to 12 and 18%. So which means while our expenditure is going, the revenue part is not the one. It's not the revenue expenditure that is increasing, it is the capital expenditure. And because capital expenditure is increasing, that is what will lead to growth. Next. So this is the revenue receipts. This is again very interesting because this shows where is this money coming from. Because till now I have shown what is the expenditure, how much we are spending. So where does our money come from? If we see our money coming from, I'll request to focus on the table. So if you look at the state's own revenue, so first there is a state's own revenue. In state's own revenue, we have tax revenue and non-tax revenue. So that is growing. Then we have transfers from the center. Transfers from the center is basically the centrally sponsored schemes and various programs. That is growing a lot. So if you see 21% is the growth rate in the transfers from the center. So which means over the last 4 or 5 years, whether it is Jal Jeevan Mission, whether it is Narega, whether it is PMAY, so the state has been able to leverage a lot of these programs, get more money. So that is increasing. And then the next one, which is what is called the share in central taxes. I think share in central taxes is the one that is increasing the most. So 24% growth is there in the share of central taxes. That is the money that is constitutionally mandated that the government of India divides between the states. So this we can attribute to two reasons. One is the Indian economy is doing well. As the Indian economy is doing well, whatever share the government of Meghalaya gets, that is increasing. And second, I'd like to take a moment here to explain this share of central taxes is decided by the Finance Commission, which is constituted every 5 years. So the last Finance Commission, it coincided when the last Finance Commission visit happened to the state. It happened in 2019, and that is when our Honorable Chief Minister also, this new government also came at that time. So we were able to make a very strong case to the Finance Commission about the need for additional resources, need for northeastern states, hilly states to have additional money. So the Finance Commission agreed with the case that was made. In fact, our Honorable Chief Minister led the case for all the hill states and the northeastern states. We had a big conference in Uttarakhand. So there, the Finance Commission agreed with our case, and then they agreed to give the northeastern and the hill states a slightly higher amount than before. And that higher amount is actually translating into a large share of central taxes. Because previously our share used to be 0.642%. Now it is 0.767%. So because of that small change, 0.1 percentage increase, So we are able to get a lot of money as share of central taxes from the government of India's divisible pool of taxes. So, yes.
I'll just add also to this slide because it's important for everybody to understand and why we're showing this slide. Because a lot of people are of the opinion that this growth that we are seeing is being funded by debt and by us taking loans. And that is the misconception that we want to clarify with this particular slide. The loans and the debts, of course, are an important part of the investments that are made and the fund that comes in. But those are capped by Government of India. We can't take more than what Government of India allows every state to take. So there is a limited scope for us to go forward. So this chart shows to you, or at least indicates where the money is coming from. So a jump of 24% in central taxes, and our CSS, the transfer from the centers, which is the centrally sponsored schemes, 21% growth in that, and states' own revenue also has gone up. These are the things that have driven a majority of our growth. So this is a very, very important slide to clear the misconception that our growth is being driven by debt. I also want to draw your attention to the second row out there, which third row, which talks about the state's own non-tax revenue, and you can see that it's 0% growth there. And the reason is very simple. Non-tax revenue is actually the royalty and the cess that we get from coal and other products. And obviously that is where we have been facing a huge challenge. But we are on the way to change that. And just to share with all of you, just about 2 days back, the Ministry of Coal has gone to the two locations of the scientific mining sites, and they have conducted their survey. We are expecting the reports to be put in about a day or two. And as I said, we are at the final stage of the final scientific mining. So we expect that number also to now slowly grow. So in all fronts, things are moving forward. And as I said, I just wanted to add to what Dr. Vijay has mentioned, that our growth and our investment and expenditure is driven by these resources and not just the debt and the loan, which a lot of misconception is there. Of course, debt and loan is part of the process and the money that comes in, but it is not what has led to the growth, because that is limited. There's a limited amount we can take. We can't take beyond that.
Thank you, sir. And also, I'd also like to clarify on sometimes questions are raised that we are dependent on government of India. This share of central taxes that we get is not a dependency. It is a right. It is the state's right. The Finance Commission every 5 years decides that government of India collects the taxes on behalf of all the states, and the government of India has to devolve it to the states. So in that sense, the biggest share that we get, almost in our 17,000 crores, about 9,000 crores is share of central taxes. So it should not be seen that we are dependent on government of India. It is our right. It is the state's right. So, and Finance Commission has decided that as a formula. So I have just two more slides. Next slide, please. This is our own receipts. Now, if we look at our own taxes, as you saw in the previous slide, we are mostly our big chunk is coming from the share of central taxes and CSS. Our own taxes is about close to 3,000 crores in an 18,000 crore kitty. Again, we all know our state is small, our population is small. So while GST is growing well, as the sir just explained, the non-tax, which is the mining and others, are not growing so well. But I think efforts are being made wherever possible, in excise, in motor vehicles, in all, to increase our own tax base. Next. So now we have shown how this growth has happened and what is the increase in government expenditure. So when we have more money, when the government has more money, what does the government do? Obviously, the government invests it in sectors which are important, which will lead to growth, which will lead to citizen well-being, which will improve things for the people. So if we look at just the investments made in critical sectors, again, we have taken a benchmark of 2015-16 and then the benchmark of last year. So in every sector, more than double. If we look at education, the investment has more than doubled. If we look at roads and bridges, about 1.5 times. Health and family welfare is the biggest. In fact, in health, we are the only state in the country which spends about 9% of our GSDP on health. So that's the kind of number we have, and that's mandated. We are the only state which spends this. So health has grown by more than twice. Then if we look at a sector like PHC, so the expenditure has doubled. So then there is a sector like sports and youth affairs. If you look at the last column, more than three times the expenditure, about three times. So these are the kind of growths we have seen. And that is what is what we see in the field. I'm sure when we travel to villages, better roads, more PHCs, more sports facilities. All this is the result of this. Next. So this is of last year's actuals, which are the top 10 departments for everybody to have an understanding. So which are the departments where the biggest expenditure is being done? Again, as we would have guessed, education is the big department. Of course, this one includes salaries also. That's why education is the big department. Health is a big department because again they have a huge workforce. Then public works is a very big department. They spend about 2,000 crores out of our 21,000 crores of expenditure. Planning, because many of the projects are implemented through planning. Power is a very important sector, about 1,200 crores of expenditure. Police, again 1,200 crores. So these are the critical sectors. Next. So this is again the capital outlay in the top 10 departments. So the previous slide showed what is the total expenditure. This is the capital expenditure, which means the previous slide showed including salaries and all. This is only on projects. So which are the departments where we are investing the maximum? Again, number one is PWD, number two is power, then it is planning, then it is urban affairs, and the list goes on. So these are the ones where big capital expenditure is being made. Next. So, and in addition to capital expenditure, I'm sure you'll also all appreciate that over the last 3-4 years, we have also been able to launch several beneficiary oriented programs. So these are many of these programs are new programs, whether it is a program like Focus, whether it is a program like CM Elevate, where already we have spent about 100 crores, whether it's a program like Skills Meghalaya, where about 60 crores has been spent in skilling close to about 20,000 people just in the last 1 year. So all these programs, MHIS is today the largest program in the state. About 210 crores is the allocation for MHIS. So all these beneficiary-oriented programs are also being implemented thanks to the increased availability of resources. Next. So this is the last slide. So basically the purpose as we look at it, sir. So we are expecting from the House comments on what are the sectoral priorities. Are there things that we need to prioritize? How do we improve existing in schemes? Are there any new schemes that can be taken up? Are there any ideas on revenue augmentation and last mile service delivery? So these are some of the things which we would like to hear from the House. I conclude here. Thank you so much. Thank you.
A very good morning to everyone. And I take this opportunity to welcome all our different stakeholders, different members from different organizations, community leaders, friends who have joined us on Facebook Live, and all the other individuals who are here today for this pre-budget consultation. Uh, as you're aware that the budget session is going to start next month or this month towards the end, and we are also in the process of finalizing our numbers for different allocations to be made, different schemes to be implemented, and what more we could do. And in that whole process, we felt it most appropriate, which we will ensure that this is held every year, is the consultation with the public at large. This budget is for the people and the people of the state, the youth, the different stakeholders, the farmers, entrepreneurs, and so on and so forth. And therefore, I strongly felt that it was most appropriate to at least give some space for our citizens to express their concerns and give their suggestions while we make the budget which is meant for the people. Having said that, I'm not saying that we can take everybody's suggestion on board. I'm neither saying that we will take everybody's suggestion and include it in the budget, but there could be some really wonderful suggestions that could come from the people that could be game changer. And therefore, without giving that opportunity to all of you, it would be really unfair for us to move forward in the way we do. And that is really what the purpose of today's program is. And we are here to listen to more to all of you. Again, I do apologize that we may not be able to take everybody's questions, but of course, you can give it to us in writing and hand it over to us. And even on Facebook, whoever is giving suggestions, we will be noting down all the suggestions that come on Facebook also. So you can always just comment. I will reply to some of them uh, while we uh, while we go ahead with this consultation. And so that's really what the purpose is. You have seen the trend for the last 4 to 5 years, and really the way things are moving forward, thanks to all the support from Government of India, and of course, very importantly, thanks to the work of the team. You see, the funds are available in Delhi, but it requires us to be having the capacity to absorb the funds and utilize the funds and present it again to Government of India to be then able to get more funds. And in the last many years, the government machinery has been able to do that. The capacity to absorb, to implement has gone up in Meghalaya. The same team, the same people, but we just done things in a much better manner. Of course, there's lots more to be done. I'm not saying that everything is perfect, but we are definitely on the right path. And we need to continue this momentum and growth. As you can see, 16.2% is the growth rate in the last, which is higher than the national average. And we expect this to further move forward. But as I said, while this growth story continues, I think the story is incomplete without the involvement of the citizens of our state. And that is why we have called this meeting. So I will not speak much. As I said, we are here more to listen to all of you and to take down your suggestions and to also maybe answer to some of the queries and concerns that you may have. So with this remarks from my side, we open the the consultation, pre-budget consultation to all of you, and look forward to the suggestions from your side. Thank you very much.
That we have two core issues or the problems that the state needs to address. First one is your high public debt liability. The second one is the high fiscal deficit. So on both these counts, we have performed very badly during the previous years. So, sir, we have failed to achieve the targeted liability to GSDP ratio of 28% set by the Meghalaya Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management, that is MFRBM Act 2006. So where the total liability, public debt estimates liability, it stands at 37.9% is the estimated figure of the last year. So therefore, we need to do something to reduce this public debt.
Uh, can you put up the slide for the fiscal deficit? Finance Commission presentation. Yeah, you want to say something? Because we'll show you the fiscal deficit and we'll explain to you exactly how it goes and why, what has happened, and what we're going to do about it.
Given the fact that we have limited tax base, because the tax base, it always depends on the expanded economic activities that a particular
Sir,
state carries.
sir, may I request you, sir, please to kindly introduce yourself, your name and the organization that you're representing.
So I am Consultation Sectoral from Department of Economics, Livelihood, Ceylon. So as a result of which the tax base of the various taxes has remained almost more or less static or constant over a period of time. So therefore, whatever mobilizations of resources that we would like to do, we'll have to accordingly we'll have to restructure our taxes in terms of tax rate or in terms of bringing some new commodities under the tax rate of the existing taxes.
When you say tax, which tax are you referring to?
I come to the specific taxes. So your own tax revenue, as you saw, that it stands at 16% of the total tax revenue, if I understood it correctly. So that needs to be enhanced.
No. It's 16% growth.
For 15%, yes.
It's not. Yeah, it's not.
You said that you
If you look at the
I get 16.8 here. Then we have translated that some portions of the growth rate into the realizations of the tax rate. So what is the review from growth rate is here are 65% over the years. So if you look at the budget figures, our revenue has not increased in the same proportion or in the same rate.
it has. That's why it's led to 16% growth.
That the total tax revenue also should increase. If to a certain extent, may not be in the same proportion, may not be in the same period.
I don't know if you saw that slide. I think you can just go back. No, own revenue. Yeah, this one. Yeah, that one. What is his name again? Sorry, Professor. What is the name again? Mishra ji. No, not receipts, revenue. The own tax. Next slide. Yeah, this one. This is the growth of the tax, the actual number. 2018 financial year 2018 FY18 was 1,450 crores. Look at the columns, the graph, the bar chart. It was 1,450 crores in 2018. Today in financial year 2024 we are 3,217. If this is not actual conversion in terms of tax collection, then what is, I don't know. These are the actual numbers going from 1,450 crores today to 3,217 crores in a matter of 6 years. We have doubled our tax collection of our own revenue receipts.
It's actual. Easy figures. That's then I would try. Thank you so much. Let me just easy for the stuff because consultation.
Is to clarify these issues. But let's go to the yeah, sure.
So coming to the individual taxes, your state excise duty as per the data that you have given on the website. So it constitutes 13% of the total taxes. And your sales tax, it constitutes near around 25% of the total tax, of the whole tax revenue or whatever, whole tax revenue, or total tax revenue. So in this case, so what I feel that there are leakages in the state excise duties. Again,
I'll draw your attention to the numbers. Just look at the green section in the chart. When we took over in 2018, the revenue of excise was 199. Can you see that column that says 1450? In that 1450, the green part is the excise revenue. It was 199. If you can see in the bar, can you see it? Yeah, yeah. So that 199 has touched 458 in matter of 6 years, tripled almost. Well, at least double, 2.5 times. The increase of excise has gone up from 199 crores today to 458 crores. And I just had a revenue meeting. We're expected to cross 520 crores this year itself. So if this is not again increase of revenue, then what else is? And so we are plugging all the loopholes. We have been able to, and you can see the jump that took place from again, 276 to 375 that took place in 2020 to 2021. So you're seeing a constant growth in the increase of the excise revenue. And today, as I said, from 199 in 2018, it's 242, it's 458 last year. I expect this year to cross 500 crores. So that is how the excise revenue, our own tax, has gone up.
Or the leaders in the memory. It exists in the other what you are
Of it, of me admitting, not admitting, the process of plugging the loopholes is a continuous process. Now, if you find some shop somewhere that's selling, and then you say, okay, that becomes the normal process. I think that would be over, assessing the situation. I think the numbers here prove that from 199 to go to 500 crores in a matter of 6 years reflects the commitment of this government to plug the loopholes that are there, and results and numbers are showing that our efforts are yielding results, where almost our excise revenue has tripled, almost close to tripled in the last 6 years. Is there room for improvement? Absolutely, there is. We will work. But to say that there is nothing happening is wrong. The numbers are showing that we are going from 199 crores today to 458 crores in excise to cross 500 crores this year is reflection of the kind of policies and commitment that this government is showing. So you please tell us what? Yeah, like how to do it.
we have a Meghalaya regulators of political like both the states, like the state of Odisha, Kerala, and Kerala. So they have improved upon the supply chain management system. They have improved upon what you call the mobilizations of additional resources. Because the state becomes the sole distributor of liquor and so in that way, there are no leakages as far as the excise duty or or what you call the other duties that are being levied on those things.
We can look at that option. We'll explain. We'll explore that option. No doubt, we'll explore that option. But I'll tell you very frankly, the main player for ensuring that we are able to minimize the leakages is actually technology. So we have to implement the technology in a correct manner to monitor every movement that comes in and every time the sale takes place. If that monitoring can be done at a very, very precise rate, which is what we've been doing. You see, we have removed the layers of collection. We have centralized the collection process so that there is not many layers of collection taking place. That's what actually led to it. I don't want to go into details. We have too many discussions to take place. But whether the state government runs it, whether the bonds run it, or whoever runs it, uh, the chance of leakage can always be there if we don't have proper monitoring and proper technology to implement and 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 monitor every single movement that's taking place. So we will definitely explore the option that you gave. We will see which is going to be better, and and we'll see this. But suggestion is good, definitely.
How about the motor in the motor vehicle tax? It will take out the road tax portions of that. So instead of charging for 10 years at a go, where the persons imported the vehicle, if you can make it every 2 years, every 1 year, the road tax will have paid, then it will restrict also the consumptions of the vehicle in the state, that given the fact that we have lots of traffic congestions and pollutions that is taking place, So, and it will also help in mobilizing some additional resources year-wise. Okay. Then, with an example, over and above to that, if it is possible to put a cess on pollutions, so that will be another source of revenue to the state government, and it may restrict the buying of the vehicles in the on the roads of the states here and there. So, because it will put a restrictions on the vehicular movements. Then, sir, Meghalaya is what you call is a tourist hotspot. Every year, so many tourists that visit the state. So, in that case, may I suggest that why can't we put a tax? I will call it an exit tax on all the commercial vehicles which will exit from Meghalaya, that which carries the passengers who come to the destination. So in that case, it also can improve or harden to the resource mobilization to a certain extent. Why not entry tax? Because it will have its own repercussions in terms of in the prices, price impact, and other ways. And when the vehicles go down, so in that case, one way if we put the exit tax on the vehicles, because we can argue that yes, we welcome the tourists, we want them to stay for more times in the state, but since they are going back, so they should stay. So these are the now for the time being I have these suggestions for the whole, and in addition to this, so time has come that we should restructure our various taxes, and we should reconsider bringing some new commodities to the tax rate, and we should reconsider. What do you mean by new commodities to the tax? The taxes do not cover all the n number of commodities. So out of the n number of commodities, we have suppose say ith commodity or ith commodity or jth commodities. We are not including the under the tax that all the commodities that means on which a tax is being levied. So in that case, we should find out the ways and means. If it is possible to bring some more commodities which have not yet come under the tax net or the activities which have not. You mean from GST point of view? Yes. And you're talking about direct tax or indirect tax? You mean GST, right? So GST taxes
The products, this is a continuous process. The GST Council is there, which I'm a member of, and we continuously take the aspects, but this is something that's decided at the GST Council level. So, of course, state budget, I can put these proposals. So, if you have the list of those products which are not under the GST Council right now, I'll be happy to take it up. I mean, which are not under the GST tax regime, I'll be happy to take it up. But as I said, for us to state to impose, that is not possible. It is imposed at the GST Council. This is for knowledge of everybody. And the tax base that Professor has been talking about, the tax base that is increased, again, this is the direct tax that we get. This is income tax and the corporate tax that comes in. This is the collection that is done by the central government and which is then further distributed to the states, to the finance commission. Yes, it is.
maybe financials. That is no. Okay. So
Uh, that's indirect tax then. The consumption based taxes are indirect taxes. So let's not confuse the people. Because when you say widen the tax base, it is widening of tax base is normally related to income tax. No, indirect taxes is completely consumption based GST. Those are products which have already answered. But when we say increasing the tax base, we normally indicate to the income tax. There was a time when there were income tax was only 2% of the public used to pay income tax. And then now slowly and steadily with the central government, taking measures, that tax base has gone up and more tax collection is taking place. And that is where the revenue and the finance commission devolution is going up. Central tax share is going up. So that's a part. So you have to remember there are two parts to tax. The tax base can be increased in both. You're right. It can be increased in income tax, it can be increased in consumption. I've already replied to the consumption tax base increase, which is done by GST Council. Now I'm replying to the income tax base being increased, which is a direct tax, which is done by central government. So those processes are not directly within our jurisdiction in one way. The central government will work on both the increase in the tax base, whether it's consumption, whether it's income tax, corporate tax, both are aspects that are led or dealt by the central government ministry, by the GST Council. And that's the area that is not completely, as I said, in our jurisdiction, our control, but is a suggestion and we can take it up.
about the tax base of the India influence.
But this consumption,
State tax.
I replied that already when I said GST. So the GST council decides that. So there's a process. So different products like that day, there was a meme on the popcorns and the caramel thing. So those products were brought in. So this process of including different kind of products under the GST council is under the GST is taken up at the GST council level. So while your suggestion is good, I will put it up at the GST council meeting. But what I'm saying is it's not a decision that we can make here at the state. So it's a generic suggestion given by a professor, not applicable directly to us at the state. But I will definitely put it up at the GST council meeting. I think just show that slide for the receipt. What fiscal deficit? Yeah, I can just explain this one. Yeah.
Uh, Very brief, sir. On the fiscal deficit, this we have explained a couple of times to the media also. This 28 percentage limit on FRBM is a very old limit which has been set. Now many states are trying to amend the FRBM itself, because what has happened is post COVID, the last finance commission said that states can go fiscal deficit 4%. Previously, it was only 3%. So, which means both for the all the states of the country and for the union government, the Finance Commission has allowed the states to go much higher fiscal deficit of about 4%. And that's what RBI allows us. And if you see the state's own fiscal deficit, so we are in the last 2 years, it will be especially 23, 24. So we are below the 4% number that is set. So basically, yes, it's a fact that our number is higher than 28. But if you just go to the table which compares all the states, just go to the states. It's 2 slides after this. Next. Next, yeah, this one. So if you look at, we have compared the Himalayan and the northeastern states. Of the 8 states, except for Assam and Uttarakhand, nobody is under the 28. Everybody is at the 35, 40 number. So we are at 36, but again, the corrected one is 34. So point is, while our number may be higher than 28%, as you rightly said, but because of the Finance Commission allowing states in the last 4 years to borrow more, all states of the country, most states, if not all, because here also, as you can see, Assam and Uttarakhand are lower, most states have breached that 28% mark. That's number one. Just go to the next slide where we show the death path. Next. Yeah. So this is the projection which we showed to the Finance Commission. So our expectation is that around by about 30, so the state's fiscal deficit debt to debt as a percentage of the GSDP should settle around 30%. And that is the amendment which most states are likely to bring soon to their FRBMs, because the 28% is unrealistic now. This because the Finance Commission has allowed everybody to go higher, and RBI has allowed everybody to go higher. Union government has gone higher. So I think that is where we are. So I would say that we are not at the best number, but we are at the level of most states.
Also, just go back 2 slides more. Acha, yeah, first this one. So here, I think what Dr. Vijay has explained to all of you that this number of 28%, which of course comes out in CAG report and all these things, yes, it's gone above, but you can clearly see from this chart that there are states which are at 44%, 42%. States that are at you have see 38%, 42%, 44%, 41%, 46%. So it's something that happened because of the COVID that took place, the pandemic, where the states required that push for economic growth, and government of India allowed states to move forward. So we didn't do something that was not allowed, and we're not the only ones who did it. Everybody did it because it required that stimulus. But CAG, of course, is mandated to mention those things as per the rules. They mentioned it. So this is the status of all the other states. Go back 1 slide. No, no, go back. Uh, Back. Yeah, this one. Now here, I think it's better we mention about the SASCI, no? In the thing. So now in this, now you're seeing this fiscal deficit again, which the CAG has mentioned in the, I think. Now this is a bit technical in nature, but some of you will have to just focus a bit more. Now there's this orange line, if you can see. This is the orange line which the CAG has now mentioned, saying that government that Meghalaya's fiscal deficit is at 5.9%. Now, why is it 5.9%? Let me just share with you. Now, Government of India had started a program or a scheme called SASCI. Special Assistance to State on Capital Investment. That's the full form of this. This is a scheme which is a 50-year long interest-free loan which government gets, which means that if government of Meghalaya today takes 1,000 crores, after 50 years, government of Meghalaya has to repay 1,000 crores, which means we all know that the value of 1,000 crore today is not going to be 1,000 crores 50 years from now. It's a very, very innovative scheme that government of India has come out with. Now, it is a loan, but it is a interest free 50. That means I take 1,000 crore today, and in 2025, I have to repay this back exactly 1,000 crore in 2075. So this is what this agreement is, or this particular program is. Now, the question is, should this be added to the debt of the state or not? Now, CAG was not given any direction from Finance Ministry whether this should or should not. But since it is coming under a loan component, Government of India, I mean CAG, because no direction was given from center, included that loan component, that 50-year-old interest-free loan, which is technically not a loan in the sense that neither do we have to pay interest for it, and we have to pay the same amount of principal 50 years from now. It's almost like a subsidy, you can say. And therefore, when we mentioned this to the finance minister, she agreed and she said that necessary instructions will be given to CAG to not include SASCI amount in the calculation of the debt to GSDP ratio. And therefore, once that happens, and if we were to minus SASCI amount from this entire total debt, we are actually at 3.5%. So what I'm trying to tell you is that CAG did what they had to do. They included the SASCI amount. Finance Ministry has not given instructions to CAG to not include it. They included it, and that's where it's showing our fiscal deficit at 5.9. But if you remove SASCI, which is a special assistance on states to for capital investment on 50-year interest-free loan, our fiscal deficit based on the norms that are there is at 3.5%. So this is what the story is. And the number, of course, if you look at the chart in 2021 has really spiked up. That, of course, was because of COVID. A lot of states took loan. This is the same spike we see in every state. And all CAG reports have mentioned this to all the states. And therefore, is it a matter of concern? Yes, for all states it is. It's not just for us. And therefore, we showed you the projections that once we have went through COVID, now that we have passed through that phase, now we are, as I said, focusing much more on building up our GDP, because you have to remember that this debt to GSDP ratio will also change as our GSDP goes up. So today we are at 55,000. We are targeting that next 3 to 4 years we should touch 80,000. So once that happens, then obviously these numbers will be affected. So we had our target. See, this is the one that in the likely scenario, in the most likely scenario, by 2031, where we hopefully will be able to touch 31% GSDP, the debt to GSDP ratio. And if we are able to continue our growth rate of 14.85%, remember our growth rate is 16.2% right now. We have put up a likely scenario being very modest at a 12.5% growth. But if we touch 14.85% growth by financial year 2031, our GSDP, debt GSDP ratio will be very much within the 28.3 figure, which, as I said, is actually not practical in today's world. And the government of India and all the states have been asking the government to rectify this. And almost 80% of the states are above this 28.3 figure. So whether concerns are right with was raised, absolutely it is. But is it are we the only ones who are facing this challenge? No, the whole world, the whole country, sorry, is facing this challenge. But we have a plan. As I said, we're working on this, and slowly and steadily, we are hopeful that this will come down. But as I said, we're very aware of the challenges, and we're going to work to move forward in that. So yeah, yeah. So anybody else? Yeah.
is known royalty on limestone and all the. Considering that we are sending truckloads of boulders every single day and sand to Bangladesh and limestone, why is there no revenue generation from there? That's point number one. Point number two is we can understand that the budget is
You have the number.
may have allocated adequate funds to different sectors, but at the end of the day, it's how things are implemented on the ground that is important. And I wonder if the government has conducted an economic survey of the state in 2023-24 to detect poor implementation and to improve the forecasting for the coming year now. Uh, so at the end of the day, I think it's also important to strengthen our monitoring system because when we visit the rural areas, we really see the gaps there. But also just wanted to ask why there's a huge allocation to urban affairs, 54% of the budget, and
No,
60%
no,
to
just to
sports and youth affairs. What about
just
what
go to the
n-
chart.
what about tourism? I didn't see
No, it's not allocation; it's the growth rate.
growth. Oh, okay.
Please, you're always mixing that up. I'm sorry, I have to
Sorry,
correct you
sorry,
because
sorry.
you say something, then the whole world is listening. In the sense that everybody's on Facebook, they think that what you're saying is correct, which is actually not correct. So no, this it's not in this. It's the original presentation. Yeah, department, yeah. And then I also want to put the receipts. Okay, you have the breakup of the forest department's receipt, no? Yeah. Just put up that presentation. Yeah. Next. Yeah, this one. The the growth rate is what we're showing. So urban affairs, there's been an increase from 45% to 455. So 45 crores to 455 crores. So it has increased by 52%, not 52% allocation of the budget. The growth rate in it, which is necessary. Whether you talk now, you're looking at all the aspects of New Shillong. All this investment is going to New Shillong. Have you seen the roads that have been made to New Shillong? There are 3 to 4 roads that are being constructed that are going to take in I think out there we are constructing new areas out there. So all this expenditure is being made through the urban affairs to build up the new Shillong city and the roads out there, the infrastructure out there, and much more is going to be done in this sector because that is the ultimate way for us to lead to decongestion of Shillong city is to expand the city further, take the administration into a new city, open up the knowledge city where we can make that also into another growth center because that's how the world is expanding. And if we don't do this, then we will be again not be able to achieve the kind of goals that we have. So that's why urban affairs is pushing for this. The first question was regarding
About
yeah, royalty.
royalty,
So,
royalty
so I
from
just I don't have the slide there up there, but the royalty on other forest produce is almost at 147 crores. So yeah, at 147 crores, I could not. Oh, no, I'm sorry, 128 crores. It's other with 19, it's with other product it comes to 147. But yeah, so forest and the other forest produce has a revenue of 128 crores. So it's absolutely there. But obviously, we have to find mechanisms of strengthening the overall thing. We feel that there is definitely scope for more improved collection there, and that is something that, of course, we had a discussion just before this meeting. We had a discussion on the revenue collection, and a special task force is being created to examine the aspects of the increase. But just to share with you, there has been a consistent growth in this, and we hope that it will improve even more in the future. Second one was the economic survey.
So basically, what is being asked is whether how the quality of the implementation of these schemes. So from time to time, we don't have a comprehensive survey. From time to time, I think we have the program implementation department, and within the planning department also. So we are doing the evaluation of the schemes, and based on these evaluation, some changes in the overall program guidelines, program implementation are done. So departments do an internal thing. Planning department and the program evaluation department do this. It's a continuous process. We take the suggestion. We'll have to probably do more of those. But yes, the issue that how does this higher resources translate to actual implementation is something that it's a continuous process of work, and we are on it, and we will improve it further.
Yeah. Just to add that there are two sides to this whole story that we're trying to share with all of you. And what is most important, as I said, to note is the large amount of funds, the mobilization, the absorption capacity, the fact that centrally sponsored schemes amount has gone up. This is positive story of the growth projections that we have for the state as a whole. Now, in that, are we saying that there are no challenges? Absolutely not. There are many challenges, and we keep improving on how we're going to, go forward. Now, you mentioned about implementation. You see, this implementation aspect. There are so many sides to this entire story. It's not like just a one-line answer to the entire process. But like for example, as I said, if our implementation was not proper, if we were not able to actually implement things and move forward, government of India would not then give us more funds. The fact that we are implementing it in a good manner, that funds are coming into us, is it perfect? Well, maybe not. There is a room. Sorry, whose microphone is there? There's a room for improvement. There's a room for making things better, and I'm very, very open to suggestions from your side that what we could do. I've started a program, I think all of you know, which is called CM Connect. And in this CM Connect program, I go to the blocks. 2, 3, 4,000 people gather. Every officer, every director of every department is present there, and the public can ask any question, and the officers and chief minister and other ministers are there to reply directly there and then. So like these kind of mechanisms are also being developed to strengthen the overall implementation, accountability, and the satisfaction level of the people. Now let me go a step further to also share with you that what happens is that which is again a thought process which our government is really focusing on, is that there is one part of organizing the money and spending it. Second part is creating the infrastructure for that particular program to be implemented. Third is having the impact, the social impact of actually the purpose for which that infrastructure is being created. Now, I'll just give you example for that. Now, hospitals, or say a sub center or a PHC. Now, one would look at a building of the PHC and say government has spent the money, and therefore, great, it's a success. But is that the success? Or is the success that the maternal mortality has come down, that the infant mortality has come down, that the cases of different, ailments has come down, and the service of the doctors and all is available at the grassroots? So we need to see as a government not just the implementation of the hard infrastructure, but also the proper implementation of the soft part and the service. We need to ensure that people are ultimately getting the health service, the real purpose of that investment, the social audit of that purpose is what is critical. Now, can we do it immediately? Maybe not. Is it possible? It is possible. But it is a thought process. It is a process will continue. We need society, we need the people, we need communities to participate, and it's a joint effort that can make it possible. But I think the nutshell and the story that we're trying to tell you right now is we are on the right track. We are moving in the right direction. We have a lot of challenges, and we have a lot of issues. We need to resolve them, and I'm hoping that the suggestions coming from all of you will also help us in ensuring that our commitments get even stronger. So I always tell people that when people criticize me, I thank them for criticizing me, because when you criticize me, it just makes me more determined to improve the things and make things more perfect, so I can ensure that the overall development and satisfaction at the grassroots level is stronger. So we look for criticism. Please let us know what is going wrong. Only then can we improve things. So I'll take your advice. I will take all the notes that you've mentioned. But that's the story that we have. And yes, the implementation is moving in the right direction. But yes, there is a lot of scope for improvement, which we'll definitely work on. Yeah. Can I just take one from the public, because a lot of people are on Facebook Live. So I have uh, one person on Facebook Live, Kong Iba, and her question was, what steps will be taken in this budget to upgrade schools and strengthen higher education? It's a very, very important question. And I just want to share and thank Iba for asking this question. And education, in fact, has been one of the most important sections. Can we go to the slide where it shows the departmental expenditures? Yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah, this is fine. It's okay, it's okay. Yeah, okay, this is fine. So in education, if you can see, the expenditure has gone up from 1,085 crores today to 2,338 crores. So we've seen almost a 14% jump in education. And for the first time, actually, we are implementing a lot on the actual infrastructural improvement. So in the last 4 years, all government schools left, maybe about 2 to 300 are left, but almost 2,500 plus schools have received a new building or have been renovated. I didn't show the pictures because I think there's too much of data otherwise. But the infrastructure for LP, UP, secondary, higher secondary, colleges, all government school infrastructures have got a huge push, and huge investment is being made by the government to ensure that proper infrastructure is there and upgradation is there. Number two, we have gone for a large number of people's college. We have almost 23 people's college today. Again, this is targeted towards strengthening the higher education in our state. We have come out with our own state university, and we now, earlier, which was meant to be only a technical university, it is now a full-fledged university because of the CUET issue, which now allows the colleges to affiliate to the state university so that they can bypass the CUET exams and not have to give the CUET exams. So university, but it's another opportunity for us to now increase the overall presence in those areas. The engineering colleges, the architectural college, the commerce college, science college, the model colleges, all for which the infrastructures were complete. For all of them, the manpowers has been sanctioned. So we will be having almost close to 8 to 9 new government colleges in different disciplines being activated this year itself in terms of the higher technical education. A very positive and good news for everybody is that the Shillong Medical College will be operational from this year. So in this academic year, I think in September or August or September, October 2025, the Shillong Medical College will start, and this will be a great milestone for us. We are working towards also activating the Tura Medical College, but we have more challenges there because of manpower mostly, because doctors are and professors and assistant professors, associate professors are not available in Tura, so we have to work out on how to make that possible. So all these areas are being looked at. We are pushing for private investment in higher technical education. Hopefully, in about a month's time, 2 months' time, we may have more good news for some more private high, quality universities also coming up. So these are the kind of steps that are being taken, and from the budget point of view, everything that's required to make whatever I've just told you possibility. For example, as I said, there are 8 to 9 colleges like Shillong Engineering College, the Moplang Commerce Science College, the Mahendraganj Commerce Science College, the model colleges in Patarkama, model college in Rongjeng, so on and so forth. All these require manpower, and therefore we have sanctioned all of this. We will run to crores once we sanction this manpower and we recruit people. So all of this is investment, and the increase and the budget will make provisions for all of these things to happen. So as I said, higher technical education is absolutely necessary. Can we resolve everything in one go? It's not possible. There's a long process. Education is maybe one of the stickiest and one of the most difficult sectors that we have in the state government, and it requires a lot of effort to untie the knots that have been created in the education department. I'm not blaming anybody, but it's through the years a lot of complication has come up, and slowly and steadily, I should say surgically, we'll have to untangle these knots, while balancing the overall system, and looking at our finances in it. So all of this is a procedure, and hopefully we'll be able to improve. But yes, a lot is being planned, and a lot of budget is being put in for the schools and the higher technical education. Yeah.
My name is Tomarat Shamkian. I am the president of Farmer Union and food maker. Thanks to the Chief Minister for having invited us to be part of this pre-budget discussion. I being a former leader, sir, I have been traveling around the nook and corner of the state. So I just want to uh, request the government to really invest into the need base. When I say need base, sir, it's depend on the quality of life, the livelihood in the rural villages. Thanks to the government for having launched various schemes, especially for the farmer. But sir, I've seen that in term of like the program like focus, it really helps the farmers, but I want you also the government to invest in the new ideas and maybe technology, and the market intervention scheme. And then of course in term of calamities, there should be a provision whereby the if there is any calamity, there should be a provision where disbursement of funds should be immediately given to the to the affected farmer. And so I also have seen in the education, sir, I have seen the a lot of dropout in the villages. So if the government can come up with the investment in the scheme for dropout, and again, a specific, I would like to request the government to invest into the free education for the children of BPL family. I can't see, sir, the drop. Some of the student, they have to drop out because of the, they can't afford that. We can see in today's world, we can't afford to see that children has to drop out because parent could not afford for their education. So free education till the degree level to the BPL, to the children of the BPL families, sir. And sir, one more thing in terms of education, sir, I would also like the government to invest in the coaching center. So in terms of job, our youth, they are looking at just the government job in the state government. Whereas, thanks to the Chief Minister scheme for IS coaching, I would like the government to invest more into the coaching center, be it the state or the central competitive exam, so that our young boy, they just not look just for the state job, because there are a lot of opportunity in the union, central competitive exam. Let our youth be explore, compete with the country, with the world in terms of education, but we should skill them, train them through the coaching center and all. With regards to the livelihood for sir, in the villages, I have seen a lot of improvement through this 100 days program. I would request the government to, in line with the 100 days program of the central government, that the government of Meghalaya should also invest more into 100 days program, because this is the only livelihood for the people who live in the rural villages. So if the government can invest on this, it will be of a great help to the people of the state. In terms of tax, sir, there is a, I think, sir, you might clarify this. There's a allegation against the government, like there's a leakage on coal and all. So I hopefully, sir, you clarify this, because the people, they think that coal is. You understand that. So please clarify this. That and again, we should take that opportunity to take a collection. Tax from coal. We know, sir. Maybe it through your intervention, and you have the experience. We might even cross 1,000 crore to the coal, sir. And of course, I have seen, sir, tourism. Tourism also, we have to explore options, sir. Tourism, it should not just the investment of the government. We should also look at the revenue, sir. How can we collect revenue through the tourism, so that it will be of a great help to the people. And being a filmmaker, sir, if you can invest on the movie also, I'll tell you, sir, through ticket sale, we are paying the GST to the government. So if you can invest on this, sir, I'm really sure, sir, something we can contribute to the state exchequer, to the movie, sir. Yeah, and of course, I have a lot of suggestion I have prepared
You
in
can put
this.
in writing to us.
Yeah, so I'll submit to the government,
Yeah.
and hopefully you'll take it forward. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I'll just I'll come to you. I'll come to you. Because I just want to also just tell everyone that there's a lot of course, points to be to reply, but I don't think I'll be able to reply to everything because it'll take too much of time. I think, as I said, if I start replying, then I'll speak more than you guys, which you have already seen I'm doing. So I don't want to do that. Actually, I want to give more time to all of you. So I'll refrain from replying to every question that you ask. But since you specifically mentioned about one or two points, I'll just mention regarding this the movies. I think it's a very important thing. Number one, there are many things we're doing, but number one, we already have got programs and funds where we are supporting local filmmakers. Just recently, we have given financial support to three local filmmakers, almost up to 35 lakh rupees per director or movie maker who have local movies in local language being made. So we would like to expand that, and we will do it for more filmmakers so that more movies in Khasi, Nar, Garo could come out is what we feel. And we are supporting them. So it's already started, just to share with everybody. Number two, we have a platform called Hello Meghalaya, which is one of the most unique platforms across the country, and the only one that is run by a government, state government, where the state government pays our youngsters money for creating content, and you can put that content on this platform. And we have, I think, more than 3 lakh people who have registered, and in this, more than that, 4 lakh people who are watching content under Hello Meghalaya. In fact, this is streamed live in Hello Meghalaya right now, and I think many people have joined us online. A third is that under the CM Elevate program, we have a provision for 25 or 35 movie theaters, where the government of Meghalaya will give 35% subsidy for anybody who wants to put up a movie theater in different districts. What is the idea? The idea is normally, obviously, to number one, have entertainment for our people because people like to go and see movies. Number two, the idea is that our filmmakers don't have the platform or the channel to showcase their movie. So we're hopeful that by having the movie theaters, 25, 35 of them, where the entrepreneur who starts the movie theater will also earn, but at the same time, the movie makers will have a channel to be able to showcase their movies, and obviously the tax will be much lower for these kind of movies, and we want to promote that. So there's a full process that's on. They're at multiple levels. We are intervening because it requires the entire ecosystem to be present. It's not about just giving money to them to make the movie, but it's about creating the ecosystem so that the movie can actually reach to the public. So that's the movie scene, and I really hope that we'll be able to move this forward. Regarding coal, as you know, coal has been mined in the traditional manner for the last 200 years or 2 centuries in Meghalaya. In 2014, there was a ban, and completely they stopped the mining of coal. Now, I have been an advocate of this for a very, very long time. When I tell people that you cannot simply snatch or take away the livelihood of the people in one shot. If there is something wrong technically, then you have to allow the transition to take place. Where people are told that in 2 years, the plastic is going to be banned. In 3 years, this is going to be banned. In 10 years' time, there's going to be no plastic. Please make a plan for it so that you're able to move forward. I personally feel that the NGT, by doing that, had created a very, very difficult situation for our people. So I am not very, that point in time was not in support of the way that it was done. Was it required? It was required. But there was a way to do it. And the way it was done led to huge financial hardship for our people, led to huge financial hardship for the state government, and everybody suffered in the process. It should have been a justified transition where they should have given a time frame in which the mining should have become scientific. Nonetheless, that is over now. Now we're in the process of trying to streamline things. Now, the question of leakage of revenue you mentioned. Until unless we don't have a scientific way of allowing the mining to take place, which is now been approved by the Supreme Court and now by the Coal Ministry and central agencies, we cannot take royalty or any kind of tax from the miners, because until unless it is officially a scientific mine approved by the government. Now, in the whole process, the only source for us is the 32 lakh metric ton, which was shown by the Supreme Court or by our people and then approved by Supreme Court that this coal exists and this has to be now sold out. That is the only source of revenue that we're getting, and the coal is being exported as per the demand that's taking place. Now, in the whole process, the narrative that is being created by general, people and who have some concerns about this. And of course, it's a genuine concern. I don't deny that. It's a genuine concern. But they only go into the fact that, oh, they see one truck and they say it's a coal truck. If they see one coal truck, they say, oh, it's an illegal truck. There is a legal process of the Coal India auctioned trucks which are moving with proper documentation. Now, while we do that, are there illegal activities in the once in a while? There could be. There's no denying that. I'm saying that, oh, it's not. When I'm saying it is, that also I'm not saying. But I'm saying that there is an entire ecosystem of this mining that was, as I said, going on for 200 years. And suddenly you snatch away the people's livelihood. It's not easy for people to adapt. So there could be people who, I mean, it's like simply saying to the people that, look, either you create the system for us to do our work, or we will be forced to do it the way we used to do it. So we have to be here, number one, moving in the process of scientifically improving this. Number two, where we are getting information that any kind of illegal activity is going on, any kind of place where there is a rat hole mining or something going on, we are taking immediate action. So therefore, there is it's not that we are, we have got like 1 lakh staff which will be placed everywhere in every corner. So it is difficult for us to monitor. But we are doing our best to ensure that is happening. But I'm very hopeful that with the introduction of the scientific mining, which, as I said, is in its last phase now, and just 2 days back, the Coal Ministry people were in Genti Hills, and we're very happy that they are also satisfied with all the provisions. We are expecting that we'll be able to slowly and steadily streamline this entire collection and entire process of scientific mining, which, as you correctly said, I expect will lead to, if not thousands, but hundreds of crores in terms of revenue for us. So I'm hoping that the worst is behind us in terms of the all the challenges, complications we face, the challenges that people faced, the lakhs and lakhs of people employed by the mining industry out here, local miners being involved. It is a massive challenge. But I hope that, as I said, with the future, we'll be able to see things improving in that aspect also. So I'll just take two.
Hello,
I think
sir.
a deputy CEM of District Garuh's District Council is here. I'll just give him a chance.
Only two requests from the parents of us. We received the granite from the state government only for land report and then monthly exercise. For every year, we receive 20 lakhs granite for donation. No.
Every year we receive 20 lakhs only granulate for the land records. Though first records, first land records of Garo Hills was started in 1882. These 22 lakhs in 2021, we have purchased the materials for digitizing the land records, and 2022 also the same. 23-24 we don't receive any granny net from the state government. In 2024 to 25 we received 20 lakhs again, and we have constructed the land records room, first of each in Garo Hills. We have started in 1882 the land records, but we don't have any land records room.
Can we come to the suggestion, because we have a lot.
So just a request, sir.
Sorry.
If it can be enhanced from 20 lakhs to your
Just make a note of that.
your maximum amount, it will be possible. It will be great for us to.
Central government has just recently approved a project for land record
Yeah.
revision, right? Not that.
Not that, sir. It is a granny net from the state government, sir.
But as I said, when you're getting money from central government,
It is not for construction, sir. It is just for digitization. Central government is giving for the digitization of the record, not for the construction, sir. We can use for construction and for other purpose, sir. Secondly, the market construction is being doing by the horticulture in Garo Hills. So it is creating a double taxing in Garo Hills. We have a designated market, a weekly market. We have a act in 1970 to collect a tax radius of uh, 3 kilometers. If the horticulture department construct a market in near about to our designated market, we used to collect it. So uh, the taxpayer, mm, the taxpayer money has been constructed by the horticulture should be handed over to the district council if possible, sir.
Yeah, regarding this, basically the idea of constructing markets in the rural areas was really to have it as a farmers market. So it's not government, the farmers will be running it. And it's an option for the people because obviously your markets are much more commercially viable for them. So they will obviously go to your market. There are sometimes, the markets are very far. So the idea was really to help our farmers, and give them the option. So that's what we tried to do because this demand came from the grassroots, actually from the Farmers Commission. When we started communicating with the farmers, connecting with them, we realized that there was a huge demand for outlets, farmers market to be created because they said, oh, we cannot go to this market, it's 10 kilometers away. Where do we sell our produce? And where do we store our produce? So these farmers markets are actually controlled by the cooperative society, owned by them. We construct and give it back to them. This is a place where they have cold storage, which again has been funded by us. They have got storage spaces, which is again funded by us, owned by the cooperative. And it becomes a place where trade takes place with the people and with the traders from other parts of the country, so that it helps the farmers. So really, we did not look at it from the taxation point of view as to whether GHDC will connect and all that. The idea really was to help the farmers. But if there's any concern, then we can obviously examine and discuss this.
Become conflict, sir, with our leases.
Yeah, we'll look at it. But as I said, my only request to all of you also would be that ultimately we should keep the interests of the farmers as top priority. What is going to help them is, I think, what should drive our decision making and our investments that we make and how we should run the system. But I'll be happy to engage. Well, request somebody from DC and finance to engage. Yeah. Hmm? Yeah. 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 So can I do one thing? Can I just request that maybe we'll give more time to all of you? So I will not, reply all the time because I'm replying because I think there's some in areas where there's confusion. I'll reply. Otherwise, we'll just
No,
take your
it's okay.
suggestions.
I'm SK Pradhan. I'm the president of MCTA, Meghalaya College Teachers Association. I'd just like to make some observation. I think with regard to the fiscal deficit, they're saying, without that SASKI, it is 3.5. And SASKI is basically a loan. You cannot say a loan also. It's an interest-free loan of 25 years,
50 years.
50 years. Nevertheless, if you remove the SASKI and the project, it comes to us a favorable 3.5. But nevertheless, after 50 years, it's a liability. Somebody will have to pay it. So totally ignoring it and showing, a favorable 3.5, I think it's totally wrong. There has to be some provision whereby it cannot be totally ignored. And, said that, 3.5 gives a very rosy figure. Because liability is a liability. Somebody will have to pay. A future generation will have to pay. So I think the fiscal deficit will not come to 3.5. It has to be, something more. That's the first thing.
Can I just reply to that first? Because otherwise the memory will go off.
Okay, fine.
So there is something called a state consolidated sinking fund.
Okay.
This is a provision where for whatever loans that we take,
Yes.
a certain percentage of this is put into a bank account, which then grows. So the amount that we are putting in for SASKI,
Yes.
when you look at the growth rate of that, because we'll interest on that deposit.
Yeah.
Whereas SASKI, we don't have to pay interest.
Yeah.
So interest will communicate as it goes on, the provision will be there to repay that loan after 50 years.
Got it.
Look, let me just complete because I know a lot of people will not be clear about that. So therefore, your point being very valid. The state government is making provisions to ensure that we have funds in the future to be able to clear this amount. So that's being done. Number two, we have requested Government of India to not include this in the calculation of the GSDP ratio. Now, Government of India will come out with whatever it is. I'm sure they will balance it out in such a manner that there is something that may come, may not come. But as I said, to include it fully is also not correct, is what we are saying. So therefore, we are hopeful that this 50, because as I said, what was 100 rupees 50 years back? Today, that 100 rupees has got very little value.
Got it.
Today, we're taking a loan of about close to 700 to 1,000 crores, 1,500 a year. This 1,000 crores after 50 years will not have that kind of value because we don't have to pay it, we have to pay it after 50 years. That is there. So we are making provisions under the consolidated sinking fund, and this provision will be then used 50 years from now because interest will be made available for us.
That's okay. Understood. As long as you're making provision,
Yes,
it's a liability.
Yes.
We have to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Another thing, like, when you put the Saskia, I think there is there's a setup whereby you said in 28%, I think, that the central government is saying you want to revise it. And most of the state government, especially in the smaller Himalayan region, they have not been able to, think. And you said, except for Assam and UK,
Let's go to the debt
Uttarakhand, only Assam and Uttarakhand were having 22%.
GSDP ratio.
I think there may be some oversight. I saw Tripura is having 22, and even Sikkim is having 22. So they are doing quite well. And compared to, the level of economic development that we are having in the Northeast, I think, compared to Nagaland, if you talk in terms of tourism, we are far ahead. In terms of industries and other sectors, we are far ahead. But we are at the same level with Nagaland. If you look around, I think Nagaland is a little bit higher, 45, and we are there. But if you look at, Tripura is also in the 20s, Sikkim is 22, okay, all the while.
So I'll just add to this, just so that we all know where we're coming from. Debt to GSDP ratio are two numbers.
Okay.
The two number is debt and GSDP. Now, just to share with you, Sikkim is the top in the country when it comes to the
Special category.
per capita GDP. Means their GDP is way ahead of their population. My point being the denominator of the GSDP is higher for Sikkim, which means that the debt that is being come in. So even if you take the same amount of debt as us, because the denominator is very high, percentage comes down. So that is what we have to also keep in mind while we look at these numbers. Similarly for Uttarakhand and similarly for even states like Tripura, which is there. As I said, but on average, what the message we're trying to tell you is that we are not alone in this. And there is, and we are somewhere in the middle. And should we work towards improving it? Absolutely. And we are going to improve. But I'm saying that, the whole aspect of saying that, well, Meghalaya is doing like this, I think it's not that we are an outlier as in statistics. We're definitely within the norms. Norms means we're within the average. We're within the average. There are some states which are better than us, but there are many states that are worse than us.
Okay. Another thing is with regard to education, since we are from that field only, we're happy to see that, education is getting top priority and it was number one. But when it came to capital expenditure on education sector, I think it is number 6 or something down below. Like, it's not in the priority.
So I'll just explain this also to you. I didn't have the numbers. Do you have the chart of the education department that the presentation was given? I have it. Do you think? So anyway, I'll explain it to you. So now, can you just go to the numbers for education, the sector wise? Leave it here. I'm going to share this with you. Out of this 2,338 crores, as correctly mentioned by Professor, is that we spent about 900 crores on grant in aid to deficit and ad hoc schools and colleges. So 900 crores goes as complete grant in aid to deficit schools and colleges and ad hoc schools and colleges from the government. We are in fact the highest. States like Nagaland don't give any grant in aid to any school, private school. We're the only state, and we spend out of this 2,338 crores, we spend almost 1,000 crores on grant in aid. Then 600 crores goes into the salaries of government institutions. So government institutions is lesser than the private institutions. The grant in aid is much higher than what we pay into government institutions also. And then comes in SSA, which again is another 200 to 300 crores. So therefore, salary component itself, and the major part of the salary component is the grant in aid to deficit and ad hoc schools, which as I said, which is 1,000 crores. So 2,338, 1,000 crores goes there. And therefore, there is lesser amount, as correctly mentioned by Professor, for capital investment. Having said that, this number has finally started, increasing. So every year we're investing 100, 200, sometimes 50. We are investing on a regular basis, and infrastructure is coming out, and and work is happening. But you are absolutely correct. But that's because the salary components, from a legacy point of view, have been high because of so many factors I mentioned to you.
No, this I just wanted to say because of NAP 2020 that's being implemented, where it's more vocationalization is happening, and outcome-based learning is happening. We need investment in infrastructure.
Yeah.
Without proper lab and without proper classrooms, without of course, manpower is the backbone of any education system. But we want that from our education side, that every budget should see more emphasis on infrastructural investment. That's one thing. The last one is just an observation with regard to transparency. Now, as one of our guests here has rightly mentioned, like we have got schemes which sounds very good, but it's the implementation. Here, I'd just like to give you a personal experience with regard to MHIS, Mega Health Insurance Scheme. When a woman, a mother who's bearing a child goes and admitted in a hospital, let's say her bill comes to 40,000 and she submits her, MHIS details and everything, and ultimately the bills comes to, let's say, 10,000. How did this 30,000 was deducted, and what is the transparency? No one knows. The detail is not available to even to the most educated person. How do the calculation take place? Because I know ultimately the private party who's an insurance company is being paid by the government. That's public money, that's my money, your money, everybody's money. But how is that calculation taking place? That is where the leakage is likely happening, and something is happening which is not likely to happen. I mean, I'll give you one example whereby I was admitted in overnight in a hospital. My colleagues was in a hospital. We took a simple room, and the hospital said that, "Are you interested in taking a bigger private room?" Said no, but we said in a simple room. But when the calculation take place, it is shown that this guy is sitting in a private room with more fees, so that more charge will take place and the cut will go more. So what we are trying to say here is, as she has rightly pointed out, transparency in the implementation. We over here, it may be rumors that something project which looks like it is of few thousand rupees, a lakh has been spent. Suppose there is a proper transparency in the system, whereby in the website, a detail of the expenditure and the receipt and the voucher with audited reports is given, I think the confidence in the budget will increase, will double and 100 times increase. It's just a request.
I'll take it very well. In fact, the point you mentioned. And there can be many, many such cases of, individual experiences we had. If somebody will say, I was walking down that particular footpath and then that one particular brick was not well, why wasn't it well? So like that, I can appreciate that there will be a lot of issues and concerns that it comes to the grassroots level. And we are happy to take those issues. We'll be happy if you can give me specifics of what you just mentioned, what happened to this lady that you're mentioning, and where it happened. Because as I said, it's a large system. It's not that we are sitting here and I know everything that's happening in MHIS. We've got more than 1,000 schemes being implemented. We have more than 75,000 employees who are working. We have, multiple programs. So it's very difficult for me to now say, sit and say that, oh, this particular case, oh, this is what happened. It's very complicated. But is it, some good suggestion? It's absolutely good suggestion. I'll be happy to look into it. Why don't you give this to me in writing of the specific case? I would like to know of this woman who faced that situation, because the hospital is involved. Sometimes it's a private hospital, sometimes a government hospital. It is an agency that's involved. So this is a multi dimensional and sectoral and stakeholder involvement is there. Who is responsible for what? I mean, yes, we need to find out. But as I said, for me to immediately just give you a reply to that, it will be almost next to impossible. But I take a note, and I would want in writing, if you can give me, I will be happy to personally look into that matter.
So I
Excuse me,
have a
sir.
suggestion, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, absolutely. This is a great platform to also share this with you. So we have a number 1971. So that's a CM Connect. The CM Connect is for problems like these also. So please feel free to call up CM Connect and inform about such things. You may think that CM Connect is just one call center, but it's not. It's a full ecosystem and a mechanism. Every call you make goes into a database, which is then filtered out and sent to the concerned department. The concerned department goes through that. I review the complaints every week and make sure that it's being resolved. Many issues are not resolvable, but wherever there's a problem like that, we're able to then tell the people how to go ahead. So CM Connect would be a great way for all of you to come into the system and lodge these complaints and give it in writing also to us.
So, good morning.
Yeah.
This is Professor Varnita from IIM Shillong.
Magic.
And I have a few suggestions I would say here. So, I was going through the budget that is being reported by the state over here. So, we have a separate gender budget, youth budget, and an SDG budget in addition. And if you maybe pay attention, SDG 4 and 5 are mostly covering the issues related to gender and youth. So, somehow a duplication or maybe overlapping of issues are kind of being reported in the budget. Maybe an integration under SDG of all the issues which are separately being created for gender and youth can be bringing it comprehensively to the world.
You're saying you should have a gender budget.
No, I'm saying you already have a gender budget, a youth, and a separate SDG budget as well.
Yes.
Whereas under SDG, we have 4 and 5, SDG 4 and 5, which is only about these two issues that we are separately budgeting for. So,
Right.
so kind of an overlap is observed.
No, it's not like that. Just to share with you, the idea of having the gender budget is to show it's not that we're putting extra money into this gender budget. But the idea is that when it comes to, say, gender budget, social welfare department is doing some scheme. Then the health department is doing some scheme. CNR department is doing some other scheme. Tourism is doing some other scheme. Some society is doing some other scheme. So the idea is that you don't get a feel of what really the government as a whole is doing for gender equality or gender budget, you can call it. The idea of presenting the gender budget is to only showcase to you all the departmental schemes put together. For gender budget, we spend this much. So it's not overlapping it. It's just collecting all the information. For example, youth. We spend for youth in education, in sports, in tourism, CM Elevate, planning. All departments do it. So when you look at each individually, 200, 100, 50, 50. So you don't get a picture. But when you combine all of that together, suddenly you realize, my God, we're spending 3,000 crores on the youth. So the idea of giving the youth budget is only to bring things in perspective that for the youth alone, we are spending 5,000 crores, 10,000 crores, whatever it is. I don't have the numbers with me. That's the whole idea. So there's no
All right.
duplication. It is just consolidating the work of different departments.
Okay, so there was one more suggestion I wanted to make about the status of state PSUs. A lot of them are loss making already, doubling the debt and also equity is increasing. Plus, dividend distribution is also happening. But why can't we like maybe facilitate more on the loss making towards the profit side of it? That is one of the sources of revenue that the state can rely on.
So I'll just explain that one also. I don't remember the exact numbers with me, but there are about 17 or 20 PSUs.
21 right,
20.
right now, sir.
If you look at the numbers very carefully, only the first 2 or 3 are heavy loss making, which is all MECL. So the 99% of the loss is MECL. Then the rest of them are either profit, loss, small amount of, maybe 1 or 2 lakh, 3 lakh, really not very significant in nature, obviously concerned, but not significant in terms of numbers. Yeah, so I'll just share with you. Example, so MECL, MECL and others, okay, there's not the numbers here, but anyway, where are the numbers? Anyway, there's a percentage, I think. Crores only, yeah, okay, sorry. So if we look at the numbers out here, total of 391 crores is the loss. So this 391 crores of loss, 193 is by MEPDCL, 45 crores by MECL, then 95 crores by MEGCL, and transmission 23 crores. So these 4 companies of MECL put together itself is about 200 or almost 300 crores. So and we're working very aggressively. I don't want to talk too much about MECL today. We will share with you MECL numbers very soon. Things are actually on positive growth, and we are working on improving. But a lot of challenges still left. There's a lot of work to be done. But point being that the PSUs, it is mainly the power sector. Other PSUs, there are some of them making profit, like MTDC. And the ones who are again not making profit, we have gone for voluntary retirement. MCCL, in fact, we have, talked to the employees and we have and in a consensus, we have managed to close it down, and so that loss making is gone. And obviously now MTDC, you'll be happy to know, it's not only earning right now, but the revenues are going to go up much more in the coming days. For whatever. So there'll be improvement.
So,
Before you, I just want to go to this one slide. I'll just show you the grant in area. Next. Next. No. Next. Next. Yeah. There's the one. So this is the number that I want you all to see. Yeah. So the grant in a GIA, private schools and teachers is 917 crores we spend. And the government teachers about 600 I mentioned to you, and SSA 366. So we spend 1,967 only on salaries. So this is the number that I wanted to share with all of you. Can you just go back to the first slide? Go up, up, mud, up, up. Yeah. That one. Yeah, next. No, next. Yeah, this one. Look at this number. Meghalaya has a population of 29 lakhs. This is 2011 census. And we have 14,000 schools. Whereas states like Manipur, which have 25 lakhs, have 4,000 schools. Tripura with 36 lakhs has 4,000 schools, and so on and so forth. So this is the first number which I think you guys should, all of you should see. If you look at the last column, which is the aid to private schools that we give, Meghalaya gives aid to 4,172 schools and colleges. Look at the number in Nagaland, 0. Arunachal, 68. Tripura, 43. Mizoram, 230. Now, obviously, giving support to private schools and colleges is a good thing, because then they take care of our education criteria and they also help in educating the people. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm just showing you the facts to allow you to understand the perspective from which we are coming out here. And aiding 4,100 schools and spending 1,000 crores. I'm just saying, suppose I didn't have to spend, like Nagaland, suppose I didn't have to spend 1,000 crores in aid. I would be able to build up infrastructure everywhere for you in 1 year. I spend about 100 crores, 200 crores of money every year to build infrastructure. And in the last 6 years, we somehow managed to saturate things for government schools. A lot more needs to be done. But this is just to showcase to you that the challenges are extreme when it comes to Meghalaya. It's not simple. And I wish to do much more in terms of the infrastructure, as mentioned by Professor. But I'm not saying my hands are tied, but it's not that I'm not comfortable position. And if that money had been saved or kept with us, we could have done much more. So it's a very tricky situation, not easy, but just to give you perspective. And I'll share this presentation with all of you. Yes, there are. No, there's no ghost schools. Just go to the go up. Just go up, down. Is it down? Yeah, this one. See, yeah. Okay, no, go up. Yeah. So there are 206 schools which have zero enrollment in the state, and some of them are being aided by the government even now. There are 2,269 schools with only single digit enrollment. That means they have 2-3 students, but they may have 5-6 teachers, which is being funded by, again, to some extent given support by government. There are again the same thing for the ad hoc and school teachers. There are 18 schools with zero enrollment. Next. So again, similar with SSA, there are 30 schools with zero enrollment, 11 schools with zero enrollment, government schools. I'll share this with all of you. Don't worry. Next. Yeah, this is okay. Yeah, that's fine. So this is what it is. I'll show you the past percentages. Come down. So now next. Yeah, next. This is also very interesting. Just go back. I just want to show this to you. This is the structure of higher technical education in the state. You can see how skewed the diagram is. There are 47 colleges in East Khasi Hills. And when I say East Khasi Hills, actually Shillong. And West Garo Hills is 15. And look at the other districts. So it's a very, very skewed number, which is a matter of huge concern. And that's why we came up with, People's College. And that's why we're supporting People's College. I'll tell you, literally, I selected the People's College based on this map. I looked at the map and I say, where is the gap? Then I saw the gap in Tikrikila. I saw the gap here down in Mokurwat. I saw the gap in Nongtalang. I saw the gap in, different parts in Ampati side. Based on these gaps that we saw, we literally said we need a college, find a college in this location, and give the grants to them because students don't have options. Next. No, next, next, next. Yeah, this one. Yeah. Oh, this is a great number. So the 36 schools which have had zero pass percentage in 3 years. And these are funded by us. Now there's some problem in systematic problem there. So we need to look into this. So again, I'm not sharing this to you to give a bad picture of things. Unless we don't know the facts, how do we work on this? I think people and society needs to know that we need to take some steps to be firm with our decision on how to move forward in such cases. So these are the challenges that are there. I just thought that I'll take this opportunity to share this also with you. Yeah. So, ma'am,
Sir, I have
I think she just she's not complete yet.
Maybe government is giving us for a longer period of time and then to without interest, but the return that it is expecting is that we facilitate growth through the use of money and then tax revenues ultimately contributed. That's perspective. So I agree with whatever Flo has said that let's treat it as a loan and let's make it work and generate the outcome that the contributor is ultimately expecting.
Right. That's absolutely the point. But my point being that we cannot also put it as a debt. It's not a full debt also. So all we are saying is that if you take the whole amount and put it against our debt, that also is incorrect, is what we're saying. That's why we said we have got this consolidated sinking fund provision, where a certain amount of every loan we take is put into the bank. Yes, the provisions created so that many years from now. So we have those provisions, and this is mandated by Government of India. It's not that we can. So it's not that we can just do what we want. And more importantly, as I said, this is what is driving the growth of our state. So this is what happens. It's a decision you make as a political, government to decide on, what kind of growth. So Government of India has decided that they're going to reduce the tax or increase the tax limit to 12. So 12 lakhs, which means they're going to have more income in their hand to spend, expecting that will lead to more consumption and growth will take place. They have now they have decreased the minimum rate. The RBI has decreased the rate, again expecting that because of lower interest rate, the people will borrow more and then it will fuel growth. So these are all growth oriented steps that governments take, and therefore SASCI is one of them. What government is ensuring that they make sure the provisions are there at all levels. The idea of Government of India is, let's drive the consumption, drive the growth in the state, in the country, so that we're able to achieve the growth objectives. Now, is it fully correct? Well, we could have arguments. Is GDP is the only thing? Is consumption-based economy good? Should we have a more socialistic kind of a view? Well, that's for debate. But point being that SASCI right now is a provision where it is allowing us to take the funds to be able to drive the investment in capital sector and ensure that the investments takes place, which is what Meghalaya is doing. And as I said, in order to create a provision to ensure that the funds are available for repayment, the consolidated sinking fund is making provisions. Yeah.
So I have a suggestion.
Yes.
I'm David Marbanyang from the Department of Business Administration, St. Anthony's College, Shillong. And greetings to all. So I must first thank you for convening this pre-budget consultation. And also, it's refreshing that, our government has something called a SDG budget, started 3 years back. And also, it's interesting, how your CM Elevate scheme is going. But sir, right now I feel, with whatever you have presented, the two of you, we are in a catch-22 situation. We have, there's this paucity of funds. We want to open up mining, but at the same time, I mean, it's nothing new, but we see this environmental degradation that is happening right before our eyes. And as an educator, I've done a little bit of work in the border area, especially in the Jaintia, Basi and Jaintia War region. And
So I see that the border area development program scheme is creating a lot of infrastructural development. Same thing with Manrega. But there is one area, sir, in these border areas that I see a huge lacuna, and that is the human capital development skill that is happening. And then you see this, I mean, right from your slide you see these 47 colleges that's concentrated in East Khasi Hills alone. That is because you see a lot of rural urban migration, and this is having a big constraint on the infrastructural infrastructure and amenities of Shillong itself. And so so to further improve the
We come to the suggestions
so
because we have got
yeah, yeah.
so many people to.
So sir, my suggestion is, how do you create these resilient communities in these border areas in these border areas in the Thasi and Jaitya war region? Because I cannot speak for Garo. I've not really done any work there. So, you see this, the youth. I mean, I hope hopefully this youth, this demographic dividend should not become a demographic nightmare to us. And sir, you have a soft corner for the youth entrepreneurs of the state, and as educator also, I have this soft corner for them. And I feel like that when by coming up with by developing, by identifying, by enhancing these nature based solutions, going for ecosystem services and so on in these areas, we would be able to create uh, a community, a group of young people who can actually come up with entrepreneurial ventures in these places, okay, in a very small way, sir. And so the although sir, the effort is maybe you may not see this effort, I mean the results of this effort right away, but I feel, sir, that down the line you will see a multiplier effect when these youth, this demographic dividend are being empowered, sir. And another thing is that this in SDG budget, just a question, because I noticed that one of the SDG goal is missing, and that is life underwater. Because out of the 17 in the SDG budget, there's only 16 SDGs. See, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, sir, I mean, this is one area which I humbly request you to look into, sir, not just infrastructure development.
Mm.
And so this effort can also help in rationalizing
Mm.
the number of schools and teachers that you have in those places, where you can turn these into into incubation centers and development centers, sir. And it really
Can you give
go a lot.
can you give the slide for the Finance Commission? So yeah, again, I will not be able to answer everything. Can you just go into that 10 goals and 10 commitments and 10 opportunities? So so while you mentioned that point, it's not in this, but yeah, this one only. Go to that slide. I just look for that slide. No, it talks about this 10 opportunities. 10, I think, no, not this one. Next. Yeah, this, but there was a one chart that had the whole thing. It's not there in this. Okay. So okay, just leave this. Leave this one. Now, uh, when I just want to make this very broadly speaking. See, when we talk of the $10 billion economy and we talk of the GSDP going to 80,000, 90,000 crores, we realize that it's not just the question of infrastructure or in question of growth alone. We are talking of ensuring that this growth that takes place is also converted into guarantees for the people. So while we are looking at say for example housing for all eligible beneficiaries, I don't know if how many of you know this, but last year we constructed more PMAY houses than was constructed in the last 15 years put together. We constructed almost close to 1,50,000 houses, whereas in the last, you know, 7, 8, 10 years, we constructed about 40, 50,000 or 70,000 houses. The point being, I mean, I don't think I'll be able to answer everything that Professor has asked. But my point being that our growth story is related to commitments and guarantees for the people also. So while we look at the growth must lead to certain aspects of healthcare, certain aspects of environment, certain aspects of care economy, certain aspects for housing for all. So all these, yeah. So all of these are being basically looked at. Number one, so it's not just about growth alone. It is a growth with a social aspect also to it, and we're ensuring that we keep our mind into all of these aspects also. A very important part of our growth story also is that we are very particular that we must again balance between the ecology and the economy, and that's something that's always been a massive debate throughout the world. It's not the easiest thing to do, but we have to do it, and we have to move forward. And that's why now the scientific mining coming in hopefully will be able to improve at least on the current situation and make things better, if not perfect, and we'll be able to see things moving in the right direction that is there. So it's complicated. It's there. I take your suggestions in terms of the entrepreneurship that we're working on the grassroots level. We have one of the best ecosystems and one of the best programs for entrepreneurship, among the small states. And Government of India has, I think, 2 or 3 times continuously on a continuous basis has awarded us for that. And this is because, as I said, we're focusing a lot on rural entrepreneurship, also a lot on green technology. CM Elevate is promoting large numbers. As Vijay must have just told you that we've spent about 100 crores being distributed to more than 3,000 entrepreneurs in the last year alone, where we gave money, seed money, as subsidy to them for opening up their businesses. Now, obviously, there's a lot more work to be done, but that's the line that we're following. Uh, Sorry, I will not be able to reply to all the points. I just want to share this concern. There are a lot of students who have been asking about the scholarship. And I think it's a great time for me to explain to you what this issue with scholarship is. Now, the scholarship is an amount that comes from the central government, from Tribal Affairs Ministry, and other ministries give fund for the scholarship that is given to the students. Now, 90% of that comes from center and 10% from the state. Now, when the scholarship comes in, this is linked to the bank account and details of the individual beneficiary, which means that the money doesn't necessarily come to us directly. It goes straight into the accounts of the different beneficiaries. So until unless Government of India does not release the money, there's nothing that we can do as a state government to release it. Now, there is one option where we can give in advance, which is what we do for old age pension, which is what we were doing for master roll and other things. That's how things have streamlined now. We give money in advance, whether money is released from center or not. We give the money in advance because this is something that people can't wait for. In scholarship, the problem is the funds are linked directly from center to the individual. Now, if I give an advance, which means after giving advance to you of say 20,000 rupees, the central money will be released and that money will go into your account. So whether the students will be able to then pass that money back to us is the question. So that means you'll get double payment. So whereas we would love to give money in advance on behalf of Government of India, this technical glitch creates a problem for us to give it. The amount comes up to 120 crores. So we can work it out by giving the finances. Finance can organize that. But as I said, the technical glitch is that the money goes into the accounts of the beneficiaries. So now, once we pay in advance, how do we get it back later on when the money comes from center? We are trying to work on that. So the delay happens always because the money has not come from center. But at the same time, as I said, for us to find a way to that is very complicated because the money goes straight into your accounts, and therefore it becomes very difficult for us to organize advances. So the only thing we can do is we can keep requesting Government of India to release the money on time and on advance basis or on time. But there is no other way, and I know it's a major problem. Many youths always message me, call me about a scholarship. It's a massive problem for us. We want to help you, but we're still stuck with this technical glitch of money going directly into your accounts. And as I said, we are continuously pushing with Government of India. And of course, we're getting response. They release, but they release every time in 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, and really, there's not much we can do to push that. So therefore, that is the problem that we face in scholarship. So I will do my best to push Government of India to ensure that they release it on time. But beyond that, as I said, it's very difficult for us to find a permanent solution to this. I'll just quickly go to another question so that even people on Facebook Live also are there. And then after that, we'll just take two more, please. Otherwise, we'll not be able to three more. Okay, two. Yeah, okay, two more. So there was a question from Pintam, uh, who has asked a question regarding the contribution from this budget towards the youth, and particularly for development of state's sports ecosystem. So very good question. And again, we have been very clear from the government point of view that sports is a very, very important part of our government's activity and governance programs. Two reasons. Number one, sports is, of course, about winning medals and getting medals in different platforms. But it is also about investment in the character building of our youth. When the youth prepare for sports programs and different things, they're working hard, they're working on a discipline, they're fighting, they are, practicing. These are all important aspects of character building for our youth. And that's why we believe that the young generation, I think all of you know that 65% of our population is below the age of 19. So you can say that almost 50% of our population is below the age of 21, 22, for sure. That's a huge number. Meghalaya is younger than India also. And that's why focusing on youth and sports is top priority for us. And that's why if you've seen in the last many, many years that we have spent almost close to 700 crores in sports infrastructure development. And we'll be spending much more in the coming. I've lost a slide. Yeah, here is a slide. We'll be spending much more in the coming days. We have created almost close to 150 new infrastructures, and maybe another 50 to 100 more infrastructures will be created for sports. Different programs like scholarship for the students who win medals for us. Different kind of training programs, different kind of selection programs, different kind of support being given to the different associations and disciplines. Meghalaya Games being held every year. National games coming to Meghalaya finally in 2027. And I do take this opportunity. Okay, this is a letter we got yesterday. And just to share with you that the Honorable Prime Minister and Honorable Home Minister have a massive role to play in this, because after I met them personally and requested them that we want to host the national games, they were very keen, and they have assured that Northeast should host the games, next games, and it is with their support that we were finally able to get the slot in 2027 for the national games. So this is going to be a big thing, and obviously we're very happy, and we need support from everybody. We'll need support from everybody. I do request all of you to, let's work as a state in order to make these games maybe one of the best games that the country has ever seen. And that's what we want, that from everything from infrastructure to facilities to hospitality, and to our entire welcoming nature. I think that's very important so that people go away with the best memories they can. And obviously, we will try our best to ensure that every aspect is looked into. It's a massive challenge, so obviously there'll be a lot of problems, but we need support and guidance from all of you. So sports is important. And just to answer to Kinpang's message, which he put on Facebook Live, that a huge amount is being done. I can't share with you right now because the budget is not I'll be reading it out later on, but keeping in mind the national games, now we'll be moving forward in a much more aggressive manner. So yeah,
Sir, yeah. So my question. My name is Alfenbert Karsentil. I am the farmers representative. Why there is no improvement in the budget if we see in that financial year 2016 with regards of agriculture and farmers welfare?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
2016 and 2024 financial year, why there is no improvement in agriculture and farmers welfare?
Oh.
So I think this is because a lot of the expenditure we are making in Focus Plus, this is all being implemented by MBMA. So it's coming from the planning budget. If you see the planning budget, So a whole lot of this planning budget is going into agriculture only. So for example, the entire Focus Plus, all the processing units that are being set up in the state, they're all being done from LAMP, which is under planning. So it's a technical issue, but the investment in agriculture has definitely more than doubled.
I'll also just share with you, because again, a lot of people have questions on this. Is sorry, I just need to take this call. Just give me 1 second.
Yes, I can. I'll take care of it. I'll take it. Yes, I'll take it. Vice President.
Yeah. Uh, so basically, I think what Dr. Vijay has just explained to all of you is that the agriculture budget may not have gone up, but the benefit to the farmers has gone up. And this has gone up because, again, planning department, if you can look at the numbers, is planning. Okay, anyway, planning is not there, but a large amount has gone through. Now, why through planning is the question maybe some of you may ask. The reason is because these are largely funded by externally aided projects. And externally aided projects are nodal agency is the planning department. As you all know that even for externally aided projects, Meghalaya is one of the highest beneficiaries. We get almost close to 12,000 crores of projects are being implemented in Meghalaya, which is, way ahead of most of the northeastern states. And no, this is not a loan. Again, this I want to clarify. A lot of people are always asking whether it's loan or loan. World Bank, it's not a loan. Here, to implement this project, 80% is repaid back by Government of India. 20% is not even a loan. 20% we have to spend before that 80% comes in. So basically, there is no question of any financial debt or loan component being here, because government always has to spend first, and then the agency comes and then they repay us back for the money that we spend. So all the externally aided projects of 12,000 crores that we are having, government of Meghalaya has to spend about close to 3,000 crores from its own revenue to get that additional 9,000 crores, which then is paid back by government of India. So that's how this externally aided projects work. It's one of the best sources of revenue and income for us, and we use maximum of it. And again, this happens because of the capacity to consume has gone up, and we're spending, and that is the money that we're putting for farmers that comes in planning.
Yeah. So my request is that if the government can increase the budget allocation for farmers.
I think
Okay.
noted. So let's move to the next one.
Okay.
Yeah. Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Vandini Shetariam from the Department of Economics, NEHU. Two of our friends have already mentioned about SASKI, right? So, but I was looking at this. SASKI is basically a scheme by the Ministry of Tourism, and the emphasis it's mentioned here, the Ministry of Tourism, if I may read, issued operational guidelines for special assistance to states for capital investment, development of iconic tourist centers to global scale, with the objective to comprehensively develop iconic tourist centers in the country, branding and marketing them at global scale. So, because earlier the CM mentioned
No,
capital
I think
expenditure, but if,
fundamental.
yeah, and also where I was looking here, there are two projects that the state has undertaken. One is in Maukhannu and the other for the redevelopment of Umyam Lake, right? So, I hope there will be no confusion, because I
Let me-
understand that this is for tourism development,
No comments.
right?
Let me just explain. The SASKI is a scheme run by the Ministry of Finance. Just anybody can Google that. So this is a scheme run by the Ministry of Finance. They started it as a post-COVID response. They started it with a corpus of 10,000 crores. Today, it is the largest scheme implemented by the Government of India. The corpus of SASKI, if you see in this year's budget, is 1.5 lakh crores. So the SASKI scheme has multiple parts, because Finance Ministry is not a sectoral ministry. Finance Ministry is the funding ministry. So they have multiple parts. This year, the SASKI scheme has 13 parts. Part 1 is untied assistance to states to take up capital projects. Part 2 is for doing digital libraries and unity malls. Part 3 is for tourism, what you said. Part 4 is for transport. Part 5 is for improving the building bylaws for urban. Part 6 is for agriculture, for doing digital agriculture. Like this, there are part 11 is for centrally sponsored schemes. Part 12 is for capital. There's something else. So basically, the point is that SASCI is an umbrella scheme. In that umbrella scheme, this year under part 3 for tourism, they have allotted 4,000 crores. Out of 1,50,000 crores, only 4,000 crores is allotted to tourism. Out of that, we got 200 crores. So that is the clarity on SASCI. SASCI is a finance ministry scheme. So part 3 of SASCI is it's not even, the money comes from finance ministry only. It is only the tourism ministry which recommends. So each ministry recommends. So that is the this thing of SASCI. So you can check it anywhere. That's the thing. So this is only part 3 of SASCI. And part 3 of SASCI, tourism is to develop iconic tourism destinations. Under that, we got 2 destinations, Umiam and Maukanu, under which we got 100 crores each. So that's the clarity on SASCI.
Sir, I'll have one.
I think Madam here wanted to say something. We'd like to give a chance. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, come.
So anyway, when we look at the I'm Mrs. Steve Hanbo, President of Lampung Kisang Kantay, which is a coordination body of the different local women organization. So, well, I would like to thank the Finance Department for giving us this opportunity to be here. I think this is the first time that we are having a discussion on pre-budget. So I would like to thank the Chief Minister for giving us this opportunity. When I look at the presentation of the Education Department, I feel very sad that and it is very unfortunate to see the function of these school which zero percentage from school. So I think it is very unfortunate, but I think that we leave to the wisdom of the government to see that this thing does not happen in the future. Anyway, since I've seen with regards to social welfare, where is allotment is this time it is 233. So I think the allotment of fund is quite very poor, I should say, compared to the others department. You see, with I would like to mention that with regards to the Chief Minister financial assistance to widows, single mothers, old age, and in pension is just about 750 rupees per month.
Yes.
So I think this is really very, very low compared to the other states. So I feel if the government could enhance because if we want our, our especially the widow, the single mother to live a dignity of life, I think there is a need to enhance this allotment of fund more for the enable the government department to to increase or to enhance the pension or whatever for these people. And you see, when we recently I have seen in the Shillong Time that according to the recent news item, which shows that that the kids without father that is it's around 30%, 8%, while in Meghalaya it stands at 15%. But actually, according to our Meghalaya State Commission for Women, which we have done a study in actually in 1918, 19. There's a field work was done at that time, but the report came out only in 2022, and we found that in the in 23,228 households in 122 villages, and we have done in 18 blocks. It has been found that it is 13% point 15 13.15%. So it is estimated that there are 72,759 single mothers in the state. This estimate is a little lower than the number of female-headed household in Meghalaya, which is 95,841 recorded according to the 2011 census. So that is the difference between this finding of this result as well as by the State Commission for Women. So, sir, I don't know whether from the state government, whether is there any, whether do you have in mind to help these single mother, because sometimes we feel that it is very difficult for them to run the house to, with such a very mega amount. So I feel there is a need to do something for these people. Sir, I think we also feel the need, when we look at the severe disabled children, and the parents, some of them, they are unable to go for any kind of work because they cannot leave their children. So sometimes if these parents of these disabled children, I mean the severe one, because of course but I think we need to have a study on this. But I don't know whether the social welfare department do have the data on these children, so that if something can be helped for these parents of the severe disabled children. Then with regards to the sexual assault, which has been, as you are all aware, especially for the small children, and we found that some years back, it has come to my knowledge that these the parents of these victims of these children who have been, either rape or so when they go to the hospital, especially in or to any health center, which need to be referred to the to some other better hospital or to the hospital, they need financial help. So I feel if it depends. I feel that it is necessary to allot funds to the at the disposal of the deputy commissioner, so that in any emergency case, he he can allot some financial help to those parents of those victims, so as to enable them to take the victims to the nearest better healthcare center. So these are some of the few which I would like to suggest. And of course, some members also, they have suggested a lot of things, but I will not be able uh, to bring here all. But some suggest from members also, they said, like you would like that roads are accessible to the all the villages.
Yeah.
Then another one is they have suggested rehabilitation center, training center for drugs victims. Then they said leave all those like smart city. They said first thing about the need of our, who are like at the center for the drug addicts.
Yeah.
Because they said a smart city initiative in Shillong could consider dangerous due to city high vulnerability to natural disasters like earthquake, floods, and landslide, coupled with concern about poor infrastructure management and inadequate disaster preparedness, all of which could exacerbate risks for the resident when implementing smart city technologies without proper planning and mitigation strategies. These are some of the
Yes.
suggestions that has been
Thank you.
given by the
Thank you
our
so much.
members. Anyway, sir, I think I think you should have invited the youth. The Seng Samla also they are not here because recently the district council has empowered uh, has given the recognition for the women's.
We could not call everybody because because there's number one, first time it's being done.
Yes.
So we are taking suggestions now. And hopefully, maybe in the next, I mean, the way I see it now is that one session may not be enough. I may have to do multiple sessions with different groups. So yes, I could not call everybody because there's so many groups. So we had to be, and we had limited time, limited space, and we didn't really know how it would turn out. But we'll take a suggestion. This is something that I want to do every year. I mean, government should do every year. And hopefully, as I said, next time we'll have not just one, but we'll have multiple sessions where we'll be able to accommodate more groups. So there are a lot of groups we wanted to call, but because of positive time uh, and space, we could not call everybody. But at least we've started. So this exercise will now, keep moving forward in a positive manner. Coming to your points that were there, I'll just touch on two subjects because there are too many of them, and all the suggestions are excellent, I should say. Number one is regarding, of course, the smart city. Because that's the last one you mentioned. Two things about smart city. Number one, of course, we could always see and say that, why doing smart city, when our rural areas are needing development. Development has to be holistic. We have to see development of all sectors. So while we are doing many programs for the rural area also, we need to also see the growth of the city 50 years from now. Where is Shillong going to be from here for 50 years from now? And I think we need to lay the foundation for that. Now, are we spending all our money in that? Absolutely not. We have got funds from center, 500 crores came from center. So we shouldn't let that money go. And that's why we took up this project. And we're also investing from our side in it. But while we invest in smart city, it's not that we're neglecting or ignoring other parts or thing. Everything is being taken holistically. And therefore, this is a larger blueprint of the state and all sectors, whether it's rural sector, whether it's farmers, whether it's women, whether it is our aged people, whether it is health sector, whether it's smart city. All the things are moving forward, and I think it would be uh, really unfair, I should say, to say that government is only doing smart city. Smart city is the looks like that in front because it's a lot of things are happening in it. A lot of things are happening in rural areas also, which is what I would like to share. So it's a holistic development plan. That's number one. Number two, which I want to share with you is that when we implement smart city, every aspect of safety is taken into consideration. We can't move forward without getting clearance from many agencies. Every time there's a project that's prepared, there's a procedure that requires vetting from IITs or different kind of agencies, which ensure that the safety and security to the highest measure is taken up. And that's again an advantage of a smart city project is that there are certain criterias and guidelines and benchmark that have to be maintained. Otherwise, they will not allow the project to be taken up. And safety is definitely one of them. So all the precautions are taken. All the agencies are involved, and obviously one cannot say anything about natural calamity. It could impact even the best structure, but whatever maximum provisions to safeguard and to ensure that safety is maintained is being taken up when we go ahead with all kinds of projects, including the smart city projects that we have, because now it's a norm everywhere in the world, and Meghalaya is also following that, is that safety measures have to be taken. But as I said, natural calamities and natural calamities. One cannot completely 100% safeguard every aspect of it, but whatever level to which we can go and prescribed as per international standards and standards of the funding agencies, we are following those standards. Coming to the women, especially our single mothers who are there, as you said correctly, we are funding, of course. In fact, maximum amount is being given by the state government. I think center gives 250, right?
Center gives 250.
Yeah. So center government, I'm sorry, I don't have the exact number with me, but center gives, I think, 250 only. We used to give another 250 rupees from our side. Then last year we increased it by another 250. So Meghalaya government is giving 500 and the central government is giving 250. We have requested central government to increase that amount, but we're not getting response yet. All state governments have requested, but central government has not responded to that. And we spend roughly about 100 plus crores for giving money to our senior citizens, to the disabled citizens, and to single mothers. So close to about 100 crores is spent by state government as of now to fund this. And obviously, we are exploring the possibility of doing more, but we do have financial constraints. But I'll take your suggestion and we'll see how we can move forward. Apart from that, the whole idea of us as a state government, you must have seen the recent decision we made for the Platanka Cooperative Society. And this basically, again, is in addition to what we have been doing to empower our women in the village and in the rural areas financially by really focusing on self-help groups. Do you have any numbers out there in self-help groups? Any chart that shows the amount that is? Do you have the Platanka presentation? You don't have. Okay. So basically, just to share with you, in the last 5 years, we as a government have mobilized from center as well as from the state and from different agencies close to about 1,000 crores, which is now lying with the different self-help groups, which is about 55,000 groups. About 5 lakh women are part of this, and some of them are single mothers also in it. The idea being that we need to push entrepreneurship, we need to support them. They need financial help in difficult times, and these small self-help groups that have been created have funds with them given by central government and us. And as I said, 1,000 crores is rotating right now among the self-help groups, and we plan to increase this from 1,000 crores to at least 8,000 crores. That's our target, and that's why this Platanka society was brought in. And we're hopeful that through this, we'll be able to enhance the financial accessibility for these different self-help groups that are there. And as I said, single mothers are also part of this initiative that has been taken by us. Apart from that, as I said, from CM Elevate also, we are supporting a lot of women entrepreneurs. In fact, maximum of our entrepreneurs who are getting benefit out of Prime as well as CM Elevate, in fact, 60% of them are women, to share with you. So 60% of entrepreneurs who have got support from Meghalaya government. This is the last year alone, we give 100 crores, and we'll increase it this year and try to help them more. So these are mostly women entrepreneurs. So there's a lot of things happening, but I take your suggestions very, very seriously. And I think wonderful points. Yeah, this is the slide I just want to share with you. But again, if you look at it for women, number one, I think, I don't know if you know this or not, but we are one of the few state governments that has ensured that in the VECs, which is the Village Employment Council, 50% of the secretary's post is reserved for women. So right now, approximately about 2,500 women, those who never have expected that they would be the secretary of a VEC, today are in charge of the VECs. And this is a policy decision made by the state government to empower the women at the grassroots level. And this is having a huge impact at the grassroots level right now. And we are one of the few states that is implementing this. The VOs, as I said, you can see the investment of 1,000 crores. Just to share with you, that number in 2018, when we had taken over, that number was 30 crores. 30 crores it was in 2018. And today, in 6 years, 7 years' time, from 30 crores, we have touched now 1,000 crores. And obviously, the growth of the self-help groups you can see has gone up. Why I'm telling you this is because it's much more than what you have question you have asked. It's about the self-help group, women empowerment. And now we want to ensure that this whole institutional network that we have created, how can we now magnify it and make it better? If we have got Lakpati Pongs or Lakpati Abis or Lakpati Didis, we call them, if we have 1 lakh of them, we want to create millionaires now. So how does this Lakpati become a 10 lakh member? So we are hoping that through this Platanka society, through other initiatives, we'll be able to not just, have more numbers, but have higher return and higher turnover for the performing groups and the performing women in these different programs that are there. So all these things are happening. I don't think we have enough time for me to share all the aspects, but it's just a glimpse of how things are moving forward. And a lot of things are happening at the grassroots level. And these are all dovetailed with so many other programs. So CM Elevate is part of it, the cooperative society movement, the funds we get for cooperative societies, the different processing units that we have, all are being invested in different ways through these groups so that the impact goes down to the grassroots level and they're able to get the benefit. So that's just a glimpse of what is happening there. Yeah, okay, okay. Oh, okay, from Garwils. I'll just, yeah. I think we can have another round of tea, maybe.
Free of cost as a military for implementing this program. As such, Nokmas being the chief. Being the custodian, and landowners are constantly providing no objection certificates for all these programs. In this situation, the Nokmas would like to propose that a special head of account may kindly be created and a substantial amount may be earmarked for the purpose of land arrangement facilitation awareness program consent of the clan members and individual landowners under each account for smooth implementation of all such programs. We used to go around the villages and conduct awareness programs on environmental issues such like preservation of the catchment areas and cultivation of arecanut and all. So for this awareness programs also we require certain amount of money, so which we request the government to provide us something. We also require this Nokma Kacharis also, because whenever we have a meeting of the village or if visiting government officials or whoever comes to the village, then we have to gather in the Nokma's residence. And to receive them, we need a certain place. Nokma Kachari is a certain a structure, house with half wall, so where they can sit together and discuss. So in 2022, we received some amount of money from the government for construction, and we have distributed it to 36 numbers of Nokmas. But that is only for 36, and we have about 1,316 Nokmas. So we require an annual grant of this Nokma Kacharis of money for Nokma construction of Nokma Kacharis. I think if the government can make it a yearly event, yearly grant, we'll be very grateful. And that is all. We require the money for conduct of this awareness program also. Thank you.
I think these are suggestions, very positive suggestions. We'll definitely take a note and we'll work on these. Yeah, I just have. Oh, yeah, I think. Oh, Bara, yeah, go ahead. After him, then I'll give it to you.
Okay.
Then. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mr. R.L. Blah, the General Secretary of SNSBH. First of all, On behalf of SNSBH, we express our thanks and gratitude to the Finance Department. This is a maiden, meeting for us. Since the inception of the state, I could remember. In fact, I was discussing with Kong Thailand Fund Board last evening. So it was the first of its kind. So we are also unprepared. What is it all about? But today we have come to to witness with our own eyes what is all these things about, especially with your enlightenment on these particular things like Sasky, in which most of us, we flow along with CAG report, thinking that it is alone as well. But after the clarification, it is understood now. So I have two suggestions, sir, with regards to this. As you very well know, I've been fighting for this issue for these essential commodities to have our own setup in the state of Meghalaya. In fact, the entire northeastern states, we are the last state today in which we are going to have our own LPG bottling plant. And I'm happy to tell you, only last evening I was there in Barapani at the construction site. And the construction is on war footing. We have completed 60%. So another 40%. So we are looking forward for the turnkey job by the next financial year. That is the target. So my suggestion today is essential commodities. Now we'll be having LPG, which we've been fighting from 1997 to this 2025. So there are two key factors. We can never predict the relationship between one state and the other, which we have witnessed during the late 70s, in which we have our own oil storage depots in Umrai area. So those have been done away. So after hearing your clarification about Saski, I thought this is one of the best things in which the state government could invest for the future generations and even during our lifetime. God forbid, if any natural calamities or other unforeseen calamities befall on our state, at least we could sustain for the next 30 to 40 days, as we are going to have this thing with LPG.
So you're talking about oil depot.
Oil depot, sir. Because first, about a decade back,
Share with you, we just discussed this before the this meeting. It was part of our discussion. I mean, I don't want to go into details, but that is what we had done. Yeah. But yeah, it's a good point. Please continue.
so apart from that, you know, uh, just I've mentioned,
The windows. It's getting stuffy in here.
there are LPG bottling plants.
Open here. But open the windows here also.
Now the construction has reached 60%, 40% to go. So we would, I think we have already written a letter to you in which we would like to seek the help of the government with waiving certain amount of royalty.
Okay. Royalty. Okay.
I've already forwarded a letter to you.
Okay.
I think about 2-3 months back.
Okay.
So I just want to apprise if anything could be done. And sir, please, this is my earnest request, especially for these depots, for HSD and MS as well.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, go.
I'm Dari Thankyo from the Department of Economics, NIHU. And first of all, I would like to inquire whether the GSDP figure is in current or constant term. Current. So the growth rate will be calculated based on the current. So I think it'll be fair for on the side of the government if they can give a growth rate on the constant price, okay? Because most of the time you'll find it quite interesting figures will emerge. Because for the information of the house, constant term will include or will capture the price effect.
Inflation will be.
Yes, the price effect. Oh, of course. So now moving on, I would like to make a few suggestions. First of all, we are aware that the State Finance Commission Act was in place, was being passed in 2012. Until now, the State Finance Commission hasn't seen the light of day. So this is a problem. I see it as a problem, as a challenge, especially for the local bodies and the ADCs, because without the State Finance Commission, the devolution of funds will be. I know we've seen the irregularities and the conflicts, and I really think that the State Finance Commission should be in place by now. I think only the state of Meghalaya in the northeast doesn't have a State Finance Commission. And then I would also like to make a suggestion on the agriculture, because till now we don't have an agriculture policy. I've seen you've done good works in regarding the program mission mode, um, uh, actually, but I think that we need a comprehensive agricultural policy, and especially if your goal is to achieve or to double the farmer's income, that should be taken, or that can be taken care by the agricultural policy. And of course, we also know that Meghalaya has different agricultural zones, and we need to develop strategies to increase productivity in different zones. And not only that, we also need to look at the welfare of the farmers. And within the agricultural policy, we can come up with the farmers welfare program, especially if it can be short term, medium term, and long term. So that way we can have a very comprehensive package for the farmers. And another thing which I want to draw the attention is the social security. The I think if I'm not wrong, there are only 4 states left in India which has not implemented the report on social security. But I did check your website, the government website. It is in place. The draft is there, the report on social security. I think this is very important. 80 to 90% of our workforce is in the unorganized sector. Now, without the any social security which they can fall back on in case of accidents or illness, it will take them into further into poverty, and they're very vulnerable. And we've also seen that in the union budget there is that provision for the gig workers. The gig workers, the gig economy is the future. I mean, in the foreseeable future. So we need to at least have this quote on social security in order to enable them to register on the e-Shram portal. And just to give an insight, I've been doing research on the informal sector in Meghalaya and in Northeast, and it is one of the research on the commercial taxi drivers in Shillong. We've seen that they don't have any insurance. They don't have any insurance. In case of accident or illness, the only monetary support that they have is their drivers association. This is a very sad part. And I think the government can do a lot on this front. And lastly, on the industrial sector, maybe among the northeastern state, we may think we are better, but statistics doesn't show such. Because in Economic Survey 2024, if you see 6 of the northeastern state, excluding Sikkim and Assam, they contributed 0.7 to the industrial GVA. So you can imagine what is the contribution of Meghalaya, right? And this speaks volume on the dismal performance of the industrial sector. Of course, we know the constraints, we are well aware. And what I'm suggesting is we focus on the MSME. Focus on the MSME, and not only on the MSME, the unorganized sector. That is where 99% of our units, industrial units, manufacturing units, they are based. So we need to really do something on that. I'm suggesting that you encourage, give incentive to these units to get themselves registered. Without that, you cannot effectively target on their welfare or increasing the productivity. Nothing can be done. If you cannot identify, then there is no question on raising the productivity. And lastly, I have something to add on education, since we will be implementing the NEP. I'm very optimistic regarding that. But again, teachers training should be paid attention to, because it'll be, if you don't train the teachers in this new in accordance aligning with the NEP, then it'll be just like putting an old wine in a new bottle. So we need to really train the teachers, and I hope that you'll dedicate enough funds for the training of the teacher. So those are a few of my suggestions, and thank you.
I think very quickly on the State Finance Commission, I think for the northeastern states, I mean the states in the sixth schedule, it's not mandatory. So I think that's why we don't have a States Finance Commission. But I think at the other suggestions that have been made, we take note. And also on the, if you look at the structure of our economy, not for the entire northeastern states, so it is not the industrial sector which is growing. It is the primary sector and it's the tertiary sector which is growing. And especially in Meghalaya, after the ban on coal mining, the secondary sector, which is the manufacturing sector, has taken a hit. So while I think with all our programs of entrepreneurship and MSME support is being provided to them, the growth, if we see, the big numbers are coming from agriculture and the service sector. With tourism, again, I think a few people spoke about it, which is very important. So I think in those sectors the growth is much more robust. So therefore, just because the industrial sector is not growing doesn't mean the growth is not there. So the growth is happening in the other two sectors because the structure of our economy is such now. I think those are some of the things, but the rest I think we take note and
Suggestions are taken. Well, and then of course we'll work on the MSME part also. But as I said, we are doing a lot of programs to promote our entrepreneurs also, because we feel, because you have to see the picture as a whole, where Dr. Vijay just mentioned. So yes, in pieces, if you look at it, the industrial growth, we have huge problem today. Land is the biggest issue. We want to bring in investments. There's no land. We want to buy land. Then, people create a, concern about this aspect. I mean, it is a concern, no doubt about it. But I think we need to realize that it is also necessary in some cases. If you want to see the industrial growth to take place, then we need to figure out how we can move forward in this. So we have multiple challenges, but while we have those challenges, I'm happy that we're at least moving forward in that line. And maybe in the industrial growth sectors, we're not seeing much figures and numbers moving forward. But as Dr. Vijay has mentioned, in the agriculture sector and especially tertiary sector, our growths are quite robust and we're seeing results. But we're also taking steps to see how we can support our MSMEs. And then that's why the Meghalaya Investment Promotion Agency is now the core agency that takes care of all of these investments. And that's the reason why now it's a one-stop shop, whether it's for the MSMEs. In fact, the small, you know, uh, entrepreneurs and MSMEs who want to start, they don't even have to come to the state level committee. We have decentralized and allowed now the districts and the DCs to form a committee, which will then clear projects which are 1 crore and below the district level alone itself. So all these kind of reforms are being made. I don't think we have enough time, but taking your suggestions, we'll definitely see which are the areas we can work on.
yeah, I think the last is I think we gave to him.
Yeah.
And we should close.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, sir, for inviting us. My name is Ricky. I'm from an organization called Bethany Society. So I would like to thank you also seeing the progress. I mean, from the presentation, the progress of Meghalaya under your leadership, and I'm proud to be a part of the system. So I just want to, I mean, just a quick thing because we haven't touched this subject. So when you talk of Bethany Society, basically people know that it's about disability, and other like livelihood program. Is it possible to allocate some fund for the welfare of the disabled, especially in terms of education, livelihood, or skill development, you know. And then the other thing, is it possible to reserve about 3% from the community rural development so that people will be able to tap that resource, especially in the rural area? So why I was saying this, because, see, sir, basically people, person with this ability often left behind. So if you can just do something on this, we will be very happy, sir.
Thank you.
One more comment.
I think he just wanted to.
Yeah. I have three basic suggestions and what are two. So, one is when we talk about development border, everybody should say international border is a Bangladesh border, okay. But in a place which is just 20 kilometers from the I mean, the gateway to northeast, which is Guwahati, you have places like Uttarakhand, Chirag, Melali, where it is highly underdeveloped. Number one. One of the big challenge our farmers they face is basically the access routes. They don't have either route. You have the Jirang Rani new road which has been built, but you don't have the feeder roads. But that is one area where we can look into, especially the areas which has been along the Guwahati and the Assam border. This is number one, which we would request support from the government. The other thing is, of course, the agri mechanization, because that is going to be a very key part in the state. For younger generations are not taking up agriculture to create productivity, and we can't afford to bring in labor force from other parts of the state will become the country because it will become a security issue. So agri mechanization is another thing that we would like really the support from the government to do it. The third is basically a key point, which is a lot of agri-allied educated graduates in the state, which can't be absorbed by the departments and the state departments. If we can create a database and start working. I'll just give you an example. Last year, the agriculture department recruited a plus of them under the Hill Farmer Shiitake Mushroom Cooperative only we have 32. So if you enable the other ecosystem to absorb these boys and girls, or BSc Agri, MSc Agri, graduates, whatever unemployed, this is the third point we thought about. And landless farmers, especially. And if we can create a system where, especially I talk veterinary budget has been increased, if those landless can be converted to dairy and meat farmers, basically, because they don't have land, so at least they can have the cattles to sustenance, and if you can create a program for that. And finally, it's an energy issue, it's a state security issue, as I just said. It's basically bamboo. We are not looking into bamboo. The state bamboo mission has been almost in operational. It's been moving from one department to another department transition going on. But if we can use bamboo as a primary source for energy generation, 20 megawatt, 30 megawatt power generation units. Bamboo also has the beauty of sequencing. Well, it's one of the best sequenced when it comes to the climate change part. So it's clean energy. You're going to have to look into creating bamboo. And I can assure you, if we've been done right, it will be a 1 billion, minimum $1 billion industry in Meghalaya, which will add to your 10 billion economy that you are looking at. And these are some of the suggestions that we have, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sir, thank you. So basically, I mean, just start with bamboo. I don't want to go too much into details because uh, we are working on something. So I'll just leave it at that. But definitely in the next maybe 5 6 months time, we hopefully will come out with more news on bamboo. There's a lot of work going on, but as I said, it's on the wraps right now. So we'll share. But just to tell you that things are happening. Regarding different mechanization work, things are happening at certain scale, but we definitely need to expand that even further. I totally agree with you for that. Regarding different programs for landless farmers, as you suggested, in the veterinary sector, animal husbandry sector, in the meat industry, you can call it, or whatever. There is a huge scope, and that's why for every sector we have a separate mission that is being working, and it's working well. We are increasing our production, minimum by 5, 10, 15% every year in every section. In fact, fish is doing very well, and we have been able to really expand the production of fish. It's still not self-sufficient, but we are moving towards that. And just to give an idea to all of you that we have a annual consumption of approximately about 3,000 crores worth of meat products in Meghalaya alone. And out of this 3,000 crores, almost close to 50%, there's about 1,500 crores of meat is supplied from outside the state. That means the money that our people spend is going outside. And that's the reason why we've been prompted to really push this animal husbandry sector so that our farmers can get the benefit of the consumption and the money that is being given to the farmers, to the suppliers. So this money can, rather than going outside the state, it can come to our own farmers. And that's why a lot of programs are going on. I don't have time to explain all of them, but just to share with you that it's a very valid point, and we're working on it, and we're going to push even harder now that you mentioned it. Well, the first point was, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. There is again a lot of work going on in there. Again, it's too premature for me to talk about that, but you took your suggestion taken. Yeah. Or feeder. So again, like I'll answer to ma'am's suggestion she made that every village should be connected. So we have about 6,800 plus villages, about 7,000 villages in Meghalaya, and we have done a very detailed research and mapping. 1,800 villages have no connectivity. This will share with you till date. 1,800 villages still require connectivity. And that's why we have worked, because these are not qualifying under PMGSY, they're not coming under state PWD, they're not coming under national highway. So we have a gap. And, road connectivity projects are very expensive. So therefore, even if you want to do 1,800 villages, you're talking of like 5,000 crores, of money that's required. So we are working on a certain program to connect these unconnected villages. We're starting, in fact, very soon with that project, and maybe there'll be something about that also. But I'm going without going into details. But we have that mapped also, and you're correct. The reason why we got this large project of World Bank of MITP2, which is given by Government of India, World Bank funded, is basically because of these feeder lines. So we explained to Delhi the same thing, that we have all these national highways, we have all these main markets, but how do we connect them to the market, to the supply zone? And that we can only do by having feeder lines. So what you're saying now is going in more micro. So while we have this World Bank roads going in, how do we connect to the World Bank roads? So that's the network that you're talking about. But again, as I said, we have done very detailed study of this. But it's a massive challenge of thousands of crores. And but as I said, we always believe that every long journey starts with one step. So we will be starting that process. It may take time, but I think this is one target that we have, is to connect. I think you must have seen as one of our guarantees, 10 guarantees that we put up, that all villages should be connected. So it's part of our goal, which again, as I said, will add to the overall GDP growth story also. So I think with that, one point I think last news of when my section reached was only 262 in 2016. Actions of like people travel plan fund. Yeah. But if no, if I mean, if I was no, that's what I'm saying. That's the reason why you look at one number from just one angle, you'll always feel like that. That's why we have the farmers budget. If you look at the farmers budget, if you look, that's the reason why we want to give you the larger picture. So if you look at what is being spent on agriculture and farmers as a whole, it has more than doubled, if not tripled. So all the departments put together. So planning and agriculture and veterinary and other departments that are there, if we add up all of that together, it's in more than double that. I mean, at least 50% increase is there in that. So this is only picture which is showing the agriculture budget. So the agriculture budget alone is, as I said, the standalone. But most of our schemes now are being funded through planning because these are externally aided projects which are funded via the planning department. So it is meant for the farmer, but the route we're using a different route because the funds are coming through that planning departments. That's all it is. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I know what you mean. Otherwise, somebody will again, pick it up, and we used to it, so it's okay. Can we close?
Sir, I think it's 2:30.
Yeah.
We should really close because we were supposed to close at 1:30.
Yeah, please, please. Can you have an email address or something? Can you share with everybody?
Finance email address. Very short one, sir.
Okay.
Me, up on a slide, the last slide, just put the email address.
Yeah, okay.
So my name is P. Fungo. I am the Joint Secretary of SNSPH. We were talking about the leakage of revenue and then also the roads not coming up. The most important leakage that I'm seeing is via the roads because of the condition of the trucks that they are making. They buy a truck of a certain size and then double the size by making it carry overloaded material. So one thing is the wear and tear of the road, and the other thing is the leakage of revenue because the truck is supposed to carry 10 tons is carrying 25 tons. So that the remaining portion of the material
They're not paying.
is not going in the chart. So that is
Sure. We'll take it. Okay. Okay, so you conclude.
I think you can make some concluding comments and conclude.
Okay.
Sir,
yeah.
and just one more question, sir. Yes.
One more.
Sir, okay. Sir, my name is Namshrang Rudi Dingdo. I'm representing the Micro and Small Scale Industries Association of Meghalaya. Okay. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity for inviting us for this very important pre-budget discussion. So, as one of the invitees, and and Sir also has already mentioned, and you also, you have already mentioned about the sector of small and micro and small industries sector senior in our state. So I just would like to mention just 3 points here. As per the budget allocation, okay, I haven't seen the allocation for the industry sector in the top 10 sector. That is one point. And what are the steps being taken to address various challenges faced by the micro and small scale industries in our state? The other point is the lack of industrial land and estates to accommodate new and aspiring entrepreneurs of our state. See, you yourself and the government has been very aggressive in encouraging and promoting entrepreneurship and industries in the state, but due to lack of industrial land and estates, it is a huge challenge for the upcoming entrepreneurs, sir. Okay. And the other thing is, another point is I would like to mention here is the lack of, there is no dedicated trade and investment, trade and exhibition center in the state. Because I've been traveling to different parts of the country and visited different exhibition centers across the country, and I find that there is no dedicated trade and exhibition center in state. So I would like to suggest the government to kindly take note of this point or suggestion that what I've made.
Thank you.
It will be helpful for small and
Thank you so
enterprise
much.
of the state, sir.
So we're coming up with a large center in Maukunu, in fact, in the new knowledge city, which will have the trade and exhibition center there, along with other facilities for other large programs. So that is on the cards. It'll be coming up. Regarding the support to entrepreneurs and MSMEs, I mean, we've spoken a lot about it, and we are giving certain support to MSMEs. We're giving other even through CM Elevate and through other programs like Prime. We're giving a large support. But if there's any specific suggestions that you can give us specifically on how to move forward, we'll be happy to engage and move forward in that. And as I said, any further suggestions you have, that's the email in front of you. So please send it to us. As I said, this and just to conclude, this program. I know that there's some more people who want to speak, but I'm sorry, there's a shortage. I have another meeting which is at 2 o'clock, so I'll have to rush. So basically, this whole exercise was not done before, and we also did not, expect how it would turn out. and therefore we could not do it in the best way possible. So we do apologize for that, and we could not invite everybody because it's a limited space and time. But we will keep improving on this because it's a good way for us to engage. It's a good way for us to also share the goals that we have, the different work that we have done, and the challenges that we face. And it's also good to also hear the voice from all the people out here, so that we can at least take up the issues that matter and reflect it in our budget in whatever way possible. So that's really what the objective of today's pre-budget consultation. And I'm very thankful to all of you for giving your suggestions, and we will do our best to incorporate as many as possible. Please don't be disappointed if you don't see anything in the budget, because that's how on your suggestions, because that's how things are. It's not easy for us to give everything based on everybody's demand, but we do our best to incorporate as much as possible. But as I said, more importantly, it helps us to understand the concerns that citizens face at the grassroots level, and allows us to build up the program. Please, at the end, remember one thing for sure, which I want to which I want to be very, very clear. I think there's so many professors here who will understand this. Budget is more of a policy document. You see, it's not that this is the end of what we're doing. So it's a policy document which defines the general intent of what the government tends to do, and obviously the budget is then revised, and then the after revision also, then the actuals come out at the end of the day, how much we spend. So there's a long process. And budget, sometimes a lot of people say, oh, you have 1,000 crores in the budget, but you spend only 800. So budget is a policy document, is a desire to spend so much money. Maybe at the end of the day, we may not spend that much amount, but that's how things budgets are. So it's not necessary that we have to go exactly by that line. And sometimes projects or schemes that are not in the budget, say through the years, when we move forward through the months, we realize that this has to be introduced, and that's why we come with supplementary demands and we increase the budgetary allocation so that we can spend money on that. So it's all a very, I shouldn't say too much of a flexible, but it has got some flexibility to move forward. And of course, budget document is very important because it guides the government and also departments and also the citizens as to what the government intends to do. And so therefore it's important, and therefore we have called this discussion. But we look forward to your suggestions, if you can give it in writing to us with more specific aspects of actions, rather than just a general suggestion. So if you can give us actionables, that is more effective for us also, that can then help us frame our policies and decisions in order to improve the overall expenditure, and at the same time to improve the overall development and different aspects at the grassroots level. So once again, I thank the finance department for organizing this wonderful pre-budget discussion, and thank all of you, and also our friends who have joined online for having joined us. We have sent the email to you. Please feel free to also write to us, to all our friends on Facebook. Please feel free to write to us and share your thoughts and ideas with us. So with this few points and concluding remarks, I once again thank all of you and conclude the meeting for today. Thank you very much.